The ground shifted under Jiang Fan's step, and the air tasted of rust and old magic. Those words were a demon's breath, a forbidden incursion into a place that should have been safe. The fury is rising now, a silent storm in the blood. If it stirs in you as well, leave a like. Stand with the rebellion, take your place in the ranks. Jiang Fan took a step forward, ready to leave. Gong Caiyi, however, clutched his arm tightly. Her face streaked with tears, she said, "You must come back. I've already lost too much. I don't want to lose you too." A sharp pain lanced through Jiang Fan's heart. He wiped away her tears, cupped her face, and bent down for a kiss. This time, Gong Caiyi did not resist. She lifted her face, bravely meeting his kiss. "You must come back," she repeated. She reluctantly let go of his hand. Jiang Fan nodded and quickly headed toward the direction of the sound. Soon, at the mountainside at the end of a muddy path marked with beast claw prints, a massive tunnel slanted deep into the earth. The stone walls inside the tunnel were smooth, eroded over countless years by the massive bodies of spirit beasts rubbing against them. It was obvious. Deep in this tunnel was the location where the spirit beasts collected Earth Phoenix grass juice. It was also very likely the burial site of the Earth Phoenix Great Sage. Ren Guheng and Wu Manyu, upon seeing Jiang Fan arrive, wasted no time sticking a dustless talisman to themselves before diving into the tunnel. Jiang Fan also decisively took out a talisman and placed it on himself. After some thought, he unsheathed the purple sword. Riding the sword in flight, he left no footprints. After about the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, he descended an indeterminate depth into the tunnel. Far below the earth, the air was devoid of any rotten or damp smells. Instead, the fragrance of fresh greenery grew stronger and stronger. The scent stirred a vague sense of familiarity in Jiang Fan. It was undoubtedly reminiscent of the Earth Phoenix grass juice he had once drank. It seemed they were close. How frustrating. Just as the tomb is about to be opened, they send us up to scout the situation. With 5 9th layer perfection core formation beasts up there, do they think that bunch of decrepit elders can escape alive? Clearly, they don't trust us because we're not their inner circle and fear we might pocket the tomb treasures. So they sent us away. Damn it, when there's hard labor to do, we're considered one of them, but when it comes time to split the spoils, we're treated as outsiders. Keep your voice down. Trouble comes from loose lips. 2 young men wrapped in long robes with only their eyes visible walked toward him, whispering. They moved using a movement technique. Like nimble cats, they lightly tapped along the hardened stone walls on either side, leaping and dodging, leaving no trace of human presence. Suddenly, the more silent of the 2 robed youths tensed, his gaze sharpening as he spotted a trail of muddy footprints ahead. Outside, it was pouring rain, leaving everything caked in mud. It would have been nearly impossible for Ren Guheng and Wu Manyu to avoid the mud. "Someone's here!" the robed youth exclaimed, his eyes narrowing dangerously. At the same time, his figure swiftly retreated. Ren Guheng and Wu Manyu, who had been hidden, both paled. Immediately they drew their swords, prepared to pursue and silence him. Pluck! Just as the robed youth moved back, a purple sword stabbed through his throat from behind, ensuring he could no longer cry out. His companion, the other robed youth who had been grumbling moments earlier, opened his mouth to scream. The space around his neck suddenly distorted, and in the next instant, his head tumbled to the ground. Wu Manyu's icy voice rang out, "Looks like our little wager can continue." Jiang Fan removed his dustless talisman and decapitated the youth. "You two, show yourselves." He activated the mute Zen bead. The moment the 2 revealed themselves and made eye contact with him, a telepathic bond instantly formed between their minds. "Don't speak out loud going forward, or the people inside might hear us. With this magical treasure activated, we can communicate through our thoughts. Whatever you're thinking, we'll all hear it." As soon as Jiang Fan finished his thought, a wisp of mental intent came through. "This little bastard actually has such a treasure? Is this for real?" Soon after, 2 more strands of intent surfaced in their shared consciousness. "It's real. Looks like it's true." The first was from Jiang Fan, the latter Ren Guheng's. "What, does this mean I can't badmouth Jiang Fan behind his back anymore?" I mean hitting his affection, scolding his love. This is senior sister's unique way of caring for you." Wu Manyu's face turned bright red with embarrassment. Jiang Fan's expression darkened. "I don't want that kind of love." He reapplied his dustless talisman and continued his descent. A faint murmuring voice drifted through again. "What's he acting all high and mighty for? If I take my clothes off, I guarantee he'll be head over heels. Ah no, who's flooding my thoughts with nonsense? How annoying." Jiang Fan stumbled slightly mid-step. He turned back and glared fiercely at thin air. In his mind, he commanded, "Focus!" Wu Manu's face was written with mortification. "What kind of cursed object is this? It's going to ruin me." "Fine, fine, I'll stop thinking. I'll stop thinking about anything at all." "Amitabha, Amitabha, Amitabha!" Ren Gyuheng nearly burst out laughing. The mute Zen bead was nothing short of a disaster for anyone who was two-faced. Before long, they reached the very bottom of the tunnel. This was a space about 100 feet wide, and the ground was covered in tiny, flame-colored grasses. From a distance, it looked like a layer of burning flames, stunningly beautiful. "This must be the Earth Phoenix grass," Jiang Fan said. Plucking one, he popped it into his mouth. The familiar flavor confirmed it was indeed Earth Phoenix grass. "There's a spot on the stone wall over there that's been broken through recently," Ren Gyuheng said. All three turned to look. This space, which was supposed to be the tunnel's final endpoint, had a section of the stone wall blasted open. Behind the wall, another hidden area revealed itself. From within came faint voices and the sounds of objects being moved. "It's the Earth Phoenix's tomb." The Divine Movement sect got the location right. To think that the Earth Phoenix's tomb was separated from the Spirit Beast sect's Earth Phoenix grass harvesting site by just one wall. What a missed opportunity for the Spirit Beast sect. Ren Gyuheng was in awe. Jiang Fan, however, shook his head slightly. "Do you really think the founder of the Spirit Beast sect was unaware of this place? The naming origins of Earth Phoenix grass don't strike you as curious?" The other two suddenly realized. If the Spirit Beast sect's founder had no knowledge of the Earth Phoenix great sage buried here, why name the grass grown here Earth Phoenix grass? Jiang Fan continued, "Which is why I suspect. That tomb must be exceedingly dangerous. Ordinary people wouldn't stand a chance of retrieving its treasures." Wu Manu couldn't help but scoff internally. "Ha! Putting on airs again. What I mean is, junior brother Jiang is indeed brilliant and insightful, extraordinary as always. Impressive, very impressive." Jiang Fan shot her a sidelong glance. Just how much trash talk had this woman done behind his back? Shaking his head, he decided not to engage further. Pulling out a bronze array plate, he surveyed the surroundings and said, "I'm going to set up an ambush at this choke point. If they try to escape later, they'll trigger it." He chose a spot somewhat closer to the center of the space. Wu Manu frowned at the disturbed soil and asked, "Why are you positioning it in such an open area? That broken wall over there has narrow terrain. If you buried it there, anyone coming through would step right on it. Here in this open space, it's far too easy to avoid." Ren Gyuheng also felt Jiang Fan's choice of ambush site was questionable. Jiang Fan responded internally, "How cautious do you think this group is?" Ren Gyuheng replied, "Extremely cautious to the point of leaving no footprints. After all, they're excavating a tomb that holds the future of their entire sect, so they wouldn't dare be careless." Jiang Fan nodded. "Then do you think they wouldn't anticipate an ambush? If you think it's ideal to set up in that narrow terrain, they'll think so too." Ren Gyuheng and Wu Manu froze, stunned. Ren Gyuheng finally said, "That's surprisingly reasonable." Wu Manu muttered under her breath, "No wonder I always suffer losses when dealing with this little rascal. He's just too cunning, isn't he? I'm complimenting your cleverness, cough, cough." Of course, it wasn't solely careful planning on Jiang Fan's part. It was that he'd once made this exact mistake while ambushing a double-headed hellhound. Back then, he smugly buried the bronze array plate in a narrow mountain trail, confident he'd catch his adversary off guard, only for it to be seen through at a glance. This time, he wouldn't repeat the same error. "All right, hopefully this array plate gives them a big surprise." Having buried the array plate, Jiang Fan quietly slipped through the chamber's entryway. What came into view was a vast cavernous mountain, its end lost to darkness. The far distance was an inky black void, impossible to discern details. Only the central area, illuminated by numerous torches, had a small earthen mound. In front of the mound stood a half-rotted plank of wood, remarkably intact. Scrawled crudely on the surface were a few words, "Xiao Feng's tomb." Jiang Fan froze in place. Xiao Feng, that legendary true spirit of heaven and earth. Was this its resting place? And who erected this tombstone? Who dared to refer to it as Xiao Feng? Gyuheng walked over. Both were equally stunned. "Whoa, whoa, whoa, isn't this too much of a joke? This little mound over here is even smaller than the grave hill of the old dog back home." Wu Manu's eyes widened. If it weren't for the wooden plaque clearly stating Xiao Feng's tomb, she wouldn't have believed, no matter what, that this was the great sage tomb. Ren Gyuheng drew in a sharp breath. No wonder the ancestor of the spirit beast sect didn't take any burial artifacts. Turns out there's not even a single hair here. There's nothing to take, even if you wanted to. Jiang Fan's mouth twitched slightly. I really want to know what the folks of the Divine Movement sect are thinking right now. 3 generations of searching, 10 years of patience. A gamble that staked the sect's destiny. And this is the result. They looked up. Sure enough, they saw 10 figures clad in black robes, standing silently in front of the little mound. Clearly, they too were questioning their life choices. Master! One of the black-robed figures turned to the sole mysterious figure among them dressed in a crimson robe and said, "Shall we continue digging up this tomb?" The crimson-robed man was an elder. His aged voice carried a hint of heaviness. "Dig. Whatever can be found is what we'll get." Evidently, even he hadn't expected. The so-called Earth Phoenix's tomb would turn out to be such a disappointment. The imagined scene of abundant legacies, spiritual treasures and secret medicines, and divine objects appearing everywhere, never came to pass. If even the little mound is empty, he might just lose it. The entire Divine Movement sect might collapse. With the command given, one of the black-robed figures pulled out a hook, carefully wrapped it around the tombstone from a distance, and cautiously pulled it. They had anticipated extreme danger, thus took every precaution, but who could have guessed? As soon as they exerted some force, the tombstone crumbled into wooden debris. The plaque had existed for too long. It had long since rotted beyond recognition. This made the crimson-robed elder's face darken further. Was this really the great sage tomb? What kind of tomb could be this shoddily constructed? Dig! Still, there was a sliver of hope. If they could uncover the coffin. Unfortunately, before the thought could settle in his mind, 2 disciples raised their hoes and lightly struck the mound, easily digging it apart, exposing a few rotting feathers that had deteriorated to stumps. "Master, we've hit the bottom." The 2 disciples who had cleared the mound were dumbfounded. The crimson-robed elder's eyes went wide as he snatched the hoe. "Let me do it," he grunted as he dug several times. But beneath it was only dirt. There was no coffin whatsoever. The little mound contained nothing but a few rotten feathers. Thud, 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 the crimson-robed elder staggered, nearly falling backward onto the ground. Fortunately, 2 nearby figures caught him. "Master, please, please don't get worked up." The crimson-robed elder roughly shrugged them off, trembling all over as he unleashed a bitter laugh. 100 years of searching, and all we get is a few feathers. Heavens, why are you so cruel to my Divine Movement sect? The remaining 9 black-robed figures also remained silent. It was clear they had suffered an unimaginably huge blow. Wu Manyu was laughing her head off inside. "Ha ha ha! This is killing me. They acted so high and mighty only to end up with just a few feathers. Ha 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 ha!" Ren Guheng also felt secretly delighted. Such a huge sacrifice and all for this. Ha! But Jiang Fan, stroking his chin, fell into thought. If the mound contained nothing but a few rotten feathers, then what about the Earth Phoenix grass juice outside? It couldn't have just grown out of nowhere, could it? The 2 stopped laughing and began to ponder. Wu Manyu speculated, "You know, don't say I didn't warn you. The mound might still have something inside." They had such high expectations, they impatiently cleared it without carefully searching. If they were to actually sift through those chunks of dirt piece by piece, there might still be something useful to find. Just as this thought crossed her mind, the crimson-robed elder, after a brief moment of self-mockery, slowly composed himself. His gaze refocused on the mound. As if he, too, had realized the issue, his eyes flashed with a hint of determination. "Turn over the soil. Search it carefully this time." Several black-robed figures were about to continue excavating, when suddenly the crimson-robed elder seemed to sense something. He sharply commanded, "Who's there? Show yourself!" His piercing gaze scanned the surroundings. The air seemed to tremble. A terrifying nascent soul-level aura radiated from his body, sweeping across the area. Jiang Fan's complexion changed dramatically. In his mind, the alarmed cries of Wu Manyu and Ren Guheng echoed. "It's a nascent soul realm cultivator. They sent someone powerful from the nascent soul realm to oversee this. We've been discovered. Retreat quickly." Against a nascent soul cultivator, the 3 of them, as mere disciples, had no chance of resistance. The possibility of escaping alive was slim to none. Jiang Fan's heart trembled violently. Even though he now possessed several impressive magical treasures, he still stood no chance against a nascent soul cultivator. Just as he was about to retreat, out of the corner of his eye, he caught sight of something. His pupils constricted as he exclaimed, "He didn't discover us!" Wu Manyu and Ren Guheng suppressed their fear. Upon closer observation, they realized that the crimson-robed elder wasn't looking at them. Instead, his sharp old eyes were fixed on the darkness in the distance. The two followed his gaze. Their pupils also contracted sharply. In the darkness, it seemed there was a mountain-sized shadow slowly rising from the ground. Boom, it took a step. The entire ground trembled. A violent and savage aura swept through the air like a storm. The crimson-robed elder's expression grew stern as he barked in a deep voice. "Quick, pack up the mound soil and take it away. Something powerful is lurking here." Jiang Fan narrowed his eyes. He recalled what Gong Caiyi had said. Not long ago, the spirit beasts that fed on Earth Phoenix grass juice refused to come down. Turns out they had sensed something extremely dangerous lurking beneath. Boom, the mountain-like giant took another step. Once again, the earth trembled. Jiang Fan's heart began pounding like a drum in rhythm with its steps. He had encountered nascent soul cultivators and demon emperors many times before. He had even been chased by the double-headed hellhound. But never had he felt such overwhelming pressure like he did now. It was as if he had fallen into an abyssal ocean, suffocating and helpless. As the shadow drew nearer, his blood seemed to pump faster. Goosebumps broke out across his skin. A deep-seated fear began spreading uncontrollably in his heart. He took a small step back and accidentally bumped into Wu Manyu. Her soft body felt unusually stiff at this moment. Clearly, she was utterly terrified by the intimidating aura as well. "Retreat! This monstrous being isn't someone we can handle. It might not even be something the divine movement sect's nascent soul can handle." Boom, 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 the shadow slowly moved closer. A pair of massive blood-colored eyes shone in the darkness like two suspended blood moons, emitting an ominous crimson light. A savage and ferocious ancient aura spread outward as well. Bang, finally, the shadow arrived. A black, giant claw lightly descended into the firelight. The claw was as black as ink. Under the dim firelight, it reflected a chilling, dark gleam. Jiang Fan stared, his pupils contracted into a single point. Because this giant claw was missing one finger. Hell beast that had been sealed for at least a cycle of 60 years, breaking through the seal, it was actually lurking beneath the mountain of the spirit beast sect. "Run quickly!" It was the red-robed elder who shouted out this command. The overwhelming ferocity emanating from that claw made his heart pound with fear. The group of disciples had just packed up the grave soil, loading it into a space storage device. Hearing the commotion, they turned their heads to see the giant beast already closing in. They were so terrified that their hair stood on end. "I'll hold the grave soil." Among them, a person in a gray robe, obviously a direct disciple of the red-robed elder. His words carried great weight. As he spoke, the space storage device was handed to him. 10 black-robed people, plus 2 insiders from the spirit beast sect, ran out with their scalps tingling. The red-robed elder was extremely vigilant. Retreating towards the exit, he clasped his fists and said, "Your Excellency, we mean no disturbance. We'll retreat immediately, please forgive us." Such a powerful beast, even though it hadn't transformed, its spiritual wisdom was extremely high. Even if it couldn't understand the human clan's language, it should be able to see his goodwill. The other party should weigh this up. The thought was still in his mind. A gigantic black claw that covered the sky pierced through the space, viciously grabbing at the red-robed elder. In the darkness, those blood moon-like eyes exuded contempt. The red-robed elder's face sank, exclaiming in shock and anger, "Since you don't appreciate manners, don't blame this old man for moving from warning to attack." "Heavenward flames!" He clapped his hands, spewing terrifying flames from his palms, forming 2 fiery streams. One met the attacking claw, while the other shot towards the beast's eyes. The moment the flames appeared, the entire underground space expanded rapidly. Even from 100 yards away, everyone felt their skin burning, their clothes about to ignite spontaneously. The power of the attack was stronger than the flame jade talisman Jiang Fan used earlier by 2-fold. However, Jiang Fan, everyone present, and even the red-robed elder himself were shocked. The giant beast had no intention to dodge at all. The giant claw lightly patted down, pressing the fire beams into the ground and extinguishing them, just like swatting a firefly. The beam directed at the bloody moon eyes. It didn't dodge either. It just blinked. The fiery beam hitting the thin eyelid was like an ordinary flame hitting a steel plate, turning into sparks and scattering everywhere. "Hiss," the red-robed elder gasped. A chill shot up from his feet, piercing through to the top of his skull. "What kind of creature is this?" His frail body shivered. He immediately realized that he was not even on the same level as the ferocious creature before him. Without another word, he fled in a flash. Jiang Fan and the others ran even faster. When the red-robed elder took action, Jiang Fan already knew the situation would be like this, so he ran away early. By now, they had already passed through the broken wall, entering the space of Earth Phoenix grass juice. "Don't get hit," Jiang Fan reminded, letting Ren Guhang and Wu Manyu walk along the sides of the space. Never get close to the center to avoid being affected. Roar, but just as Jiang Fan ran out of the gap, the ground shook. The hell beast slammed a claw onto the earth. A black gleam, centered on its claw, radiated in all directions. The rushing crowd suddenly felt their footing sink as if stepped into mud. Their movements abruptly slowed, and it became increasingly difficult. After 3 breaths, it was like they were mired in a swamp, every step incredibly hard. Even the red-robed elder was affected. Fortunately, he stood suspended in the air just in time, avoiding the black gleam on the ground. His pupils shrank. He spoke in a trembling voice, "Wild beast domain. This is a hell beast's ultimate skill." He looked to the giant beast slowly walking through the darkness. His heart was pounding up to his throat. "We disguised as hell beasts, yet we did so right in front of a real one. Of course, the hell beast just came out of seclusion. It's at its weakest, needing a huge replenishment. Nothing attracts it more than the remains of the great sage." The adage proved true. Pretending to be a ghost at midnight met a true ghost. He was utterly terrified. Without thinking, he leaped over the heads of the disciples, rushing toward the broken wall. "Master, Carefree Master!" The people stuck in the quagmire watched helplessly as Carefree Master abandoned them. They screamed in panicked, high-pitched voices. Crunch, and it was at this very moment, the hell beast approached. Its massive claw effortlessly pressed down. A disciple at the 9th layer of core formation was crushed like a small watermelon. Blood mixed with flesh splattered over the surrounding disciples. This frightened them even more, making them attempts to escape more frantic, yet arduously slow. Crunch, another disciple, was crushed. The hell beast's eyes showed a hint of a cruel smile. It seemed to treat them as mere toys, not even interested in eating them. Witnessing this, Carefree Master turned back, his eyes almost popping out of his sockets. He shouted, "Beast!" With gritted teeth, he painfully took out a primitive broken spear. It retained faint traces of spiritual artifact power. "Go!" With a powerful throw, the broken spear turned into a black shadow, striking toward the hell beast. In its mocking blood moon eyes, a hint of fear appeared. It raised its incomparably tough claw to block in front of itself. Clang! Sparks flew as the claw was hit, without the slightest scratch. Carefree Master was greatly shocked. But it was this strike that disrupted the hell beast's continued use of the wild beast domain. The black gleam on the ground receded. Disciples regained their freedom. "Go quickly! Don't stop! I'll hold it back for a moment," Carefree Master said in a low shout. Once more, he took out several broken spiritual artifacts. These disciples carried the sect's mission, accompanying him on this journey. Among them were several of his direct disciples. If all were to perish in the mouth of the hell beast, he would be the Xin'er of the Divine Movement sect, unable to account to the sect. Even more, he couldn't account to himself for the years spent cultivating disciples, just needing to hold back briefly, really. If necessary, there was always time to abandon the disciples. Thinking this, he immediately threw out the series of broken spiritual artifacts. To his delight, the hell beast was indeed weakened. It was very wary of spiritual artifact power. For a moment, it unexpectedly halted its steps. Seizing this opportunity, the disciples ran past him, overjoyed. The disciple holding the space storage ring said, "Master, be careful." Carefree Master said, "Stop talking nonsense. Go quickly, and when you're up there, swiftly check if there are survivors. We mustn't let anyone know it was us from the Divine Movement sect. If word got out that it was the Divine Movement sect who disturbed the Great Sage's tomb, that would invite trouble demanding benefit. How would the Divine Movement sect respond? Claim they only acquired a few strands of hair. Even they wouldn't believe such a lie, let alone outsiders. By then, without treasures to show, they'd fall into even greater trouble. So the Spirit Beast sect's people must all be killed, not a single one left." "Disciple understands," he replied firmly, then decisively brushed past. Carefree Master's heart was greatly comforted. Changzheyan was his eldest disciple, steady and competent in action, most trustworthy. With him handling this matter, there was no need to worry. PFFFT, suddenly. A muffled sound came from behind. Carefree Master turned his head. Changzheyan's head flew up. On his shoulder at some unknown time there was a cute little seed. The little grain on top grinned, biting firmly into his neck, paralyzing his body. The head was severed by someone taking the chance. Soon after, something in the air grabbed the head, making it disappear. An icy voice, cold and clear, resonated at that moment. Indeed, no one will know it was the Divine Movement sect, because you all must die. Carefree Master finally reacted, his pupils dilating in rage. Ziyun, he was incredulous. His most prized disciple, just like that, gone. The enormous roar created a powerful shockwave. Jiang Fan, suspended in midair, stumbled from the impact, his dustless talisman shattering instantly. His figure was suddenly exposed, before Carefree Master could react. Jiang Fan decisively snatched back the seed while simultaneously pulling out the space storage device that contained grave soil from Carefree Master's robes. Without a moment's hesitation, he fled. "Ah, you wretch! How dare you kill my disciple?" Carefree Master roared furiously, hurling the broken spiritual artifacts in his hands to temporarily block the hell beast. Then, filled with murderous intent, he pursued Jiang Fan. As he passed a breach in the wall, he stopped abruptly and raised his hand, firing a burst of flames to clear the area around the breach. Anything lurking nearby would be destroyed. Anything indestructible would be exposed. Wu Manyu and Ren Guhang, who were moving stealthily along the distant wall, felt a chill in their hearts. It was exactly as Jiang Fan had predicted. High-alert individuals like these were wary of the very spots that seemed ideal for ambushes. Even as Carefree Master was overcome by rage, he retained a high degree of vigilance. He didn't fall for the trap so easily. Jiang Fan glanced back, his heart tightening. He had killed nascent soul-level opponents twice before, once when Green Crane Master was critically wounded and dying, once when he tricked Yan Daeon into drinking netherworld poison, but he had never faced off directly against a nascent soul expert. Now being pursued, it was impossible for him not to feel nervous. But since he had already acted, what was there to hesitate over? As he ran forward, he overtook two disciples fleeing in panic. Without a second thought, he swung his sword in a decisive slash, severing the head of one and taking it with him. The other disciple reacted, darting to the side in terror. But the air behind him twisted. Ren Guhang struck suddenly, his fist punching cleanly through the opponent's heart. Then in one swift move, he hacked off the head and took it away. "Finally, I managed to snag one?" Ren Guhang laughed loudly. The whole way he had watched Jiang Fan and Wu Manyu, those cunning scoundrels, snatching all the kills. He could do nothing but glare helplessly. It had stifled him terribly. Wu Manyu clicked her tongue and said, "You two really have no regard for your lives. Killing someone else's disciples right in front of the master. Run while you can." Yet even as she urged the others to flee, her eyes suddenly flashed cold. Without warning, she launched a hidden weapon, severing the head of a nearby disciple. Ren Guhang rolled his eyes dramatically. "Ha, telling us to leave while you snatch a kill? You'll stop at nothing for treasures utterly deranged." Jiang Fan's forehead twitched with anger. While he was drawing Carefree Master's fire, these two scoundrels were busy snatching kills. "Fine, you keep snatching. I'll run ahead." He dashed into a tunnel, just as he made it through. A beam of icy light, bursting with immense power, shot toward him. He looked up to see a disciple who had been hiding in the dark corner of the tunnel, waiting for an opportunity to unleash a strike comparable to the 9th layer perfection. Boom, even with his chain armor, Jiang Fan was hit by the sudden attack and spat out blood. Soul-shocking stab? The attacker retreated after his failed strike, but Jiang Fan promptly activated his soul-shocking stab, causing the disciple's body to shudder uncontrollably. Immediately, Jiang Fan triggered the Yin Marrow talisman. A swirl of yin qi enveloped the disciple, and before he could recover, his golden core had already been invaded by yin qi, rendering it paralyzed. From afar, Carefree Master witnessed this and shouted urgently, "Quick, use your life-saving magical treasure!" In truth, even before the warning, the disciple realized the peril. In a hurry, he pulled out a space scroll. But Jiang Fan, having suffered a loss to Kang Lin before, wouldn't give him the chance to use the scroll this time. With only a short distance between them, just 3 or 4 meters, Jiang Fan decisively pulled a massive 6-meter-long wolf fang club from his space storage device. Without hesitation, he slammed it down. Before the disciple could react, darkness consumed his vision. His head throbbed painfully and his consciousness dimmed. Another swing followed quickly. Not even iron would endure such strikes, let alone flesh and blood. He collapsed on the spot, unconscious. Even as the figure was falling, Jiang Fan drew his sword in a sharp slash, decisively severing the head and packing it away. "You wretch!" Carefree Master's eyes burned with rage. He unleashed a destructive fire burst toward the tunnel. But a sudden thought stopped him from collapsing the tunnel entirely. If the tunnel caved in, he'd also perish here. Instead, he redirected the attack elsewhere, which brought misfortune to Ren Guhong and Wu Manyu. Though merely caught in the blast, the two were scorched into blistering visibility, their clothing burned into tatters, and their skin reddened by the heat. They resembled roasted suckling pigs scorched to a dark red hue. Hiss, hiss, the pair cried out in pain, fleeing immediately into the tunnel. Carefree Master roared with murderous intent, "All three of you will die!" Boom, he leaped forward with impossible speed, chasing after them. Jiang Fan turned coldly and growled, "No, you'll die first!" "Explode!" Buzz, a sharp, resounding hum. Carefree Master, who had reached the tunnel's central area, suddenly froze uncontrollably. Moments later, a circular light with a diameter of 7 or 8 meters surged beneath his feet. Intricate runes connected into gleaming chains on the ground, forming an elaborate prison. Like a bird in a cage, he was trapped within. "An array? You set up an ambush." Carefree Master was incredulous. He hadn't expected a trap in such an open area. "A mere array? Do you think it can trap me?" He furiously unleashed 2 bursts of flame toward the array before him. But the chains were incredibly sturdy. After merely quivering from the impact, the array restored itself completely. "What? Which of the celestial stems or earthly branches does this array belong to? How can it restrain a nascent soul-level expert like me?" But there was no time for thought. Looming from the breach behind, heavy steps echoed ominously, the Hell Beast. It had arrived, and he was sealed in place, unable to escape. Carefree Master's face twisted in terror as he shouted, "Kid, disarm the array?" Jiang Fan cast him a cold glance. "Don't you people like impersonating Hell Beasts to create massacres? How about a little quality time with the real deal to deepen your understanding?" With that, he immediately fled upward. Carefree Master panicked, shouting, "Young man, wait! Disarm the array and I'll offer you profound treasures." Jiang Fan sneered. Without looking back, he rushed upward. Along the way, he encountered lagging disciples of the Divine Movement sect and mercilessly slaughtered them. Joined by Ren Guhong and Wu Manyu, both determined to snatch kills. For a while, the tunnel was filled with cries of agony. Carefree Master's eyes burned with rage. "You 3 wretches! I'll grind your bones to dust." Never in his worst nightmares did he imagine his disciples wouldn't perish at the hands of the Hell Beast, but would instead fall to 3 insidious juniors. Yet, as the Hell Beast emitted a cold voice, Carefree Master felt as if he'd been plunged into an icy abyss. "Oh, you're impersonating me?" As the Hell Beast approached, its fearsome face displayed a hint of amusement. It spoke, and shockingly, if Jiang Fan were present, he would recognize that voice belonged to Yan Daeon. Fan and the other 2, they killed as they traveled. By the time they rushed out of the tunnel, all 10 black-robed men and the 2 informants from Spirit Beast sect were dead. Not a single one escaped. All became headless corpses. The 3 dared not linger. They charged down the mountain, jumped onto the back of a bird, and fled decisively. All right, let's settle the score." Shortly after taking off, Wu Manyu rubbed her hands together, ignoring the burns on her body, and couldn't wait to pull out the severed heads she'd collected. This time, she'd harvested 6 heads, adding to the 4 she'd previously collected, making for a total of 10 heads. Ren Guhong's face darkened, and he angrily smacked his thigh. "You really know how to snatch kills?" He pulled out his own collection. This time he killed 5, combined with his previous 4, making 9 heads in total. Wu Manyu instantly let out a shrill, goose-like laugh. "Oh ho ho ho! Finally, it's my turn to hit the jackpot. Quick, hand them over. Brother Ren's 5-colored spirit liquid, junior brother Jiang's Bodhi pill. They're all mine now." Jiang Fan glanced back at the distant Spirit Beast sect. Feeling slightly relieved, he smirked and said, "Who said you've won?" Wu Manyu sneered. "Trying to cheat, are you? Let me break it down for you. This time in the tunnel, along with the 2 informants from Spirit Beast sect, there were 14 disciples in total. I killed 6, Brother Ren killed 5, and the remaining 3, assuming they were all killed by you. Adding your previous 4, that makes 7 kills for you overall. I've got 9, Brother Ren has 8, and you have 7. Crystal clear and undeniable. Hand over the goods." She triumphantly extended her elegant hand, like a proud little peacock brimming with confidence. Ren Guhong pulled a sour face and reluctantly took out the barrel of 5-colored spirit liquid. He patted Jiang Fan on the shoulder and said, "Junior brother Jiang, take your loss like a man. We're all in the same boat. Once it's safe, let's find a place to drink and drown our sorrows." Jiang Fan smiled faintly. "Brother Ren, I think you'll be drinking alone." He silently pulled out 3 severed heads, then added another 4 severed heads, and finally another 12 severed heads. Apologies, but I'm the one who's won. Ren Guheng and Wu Manyu froze in place. They stared wide-eyed at the rolling heap of severed heads, more than double the total they'd collected together. Junior brother Jiang, where did those 12 extra heads come from? Ren Guheng asked, stupefied. When did we encounter those? Jiang Fan shook his head. You two didn't encounter them. I did, then I killed them all. Damn it. Ren Guheng's eyes widened. You went big before even meeting up with us. Seeing Jiang Fan nod, Ren Guheng was dumbfounded. So that means the game was over before it even started. Jiang Fan nodded again. Ren Guheng stretched out his hands like he was about to strangle Jiang Fan. Why didn't you say so earlier? I fought tooth and nail thinking I had a chance. Jiang Fan laughed and dodged, saying, had to give you guys a little hope, right? Ren Guheng gritted his teeth, trembling with rage. You're such a damn scoundrel. Wu Manyu squatted down, unwilling to accept defeat as she inspected those 12 corpses. She found the distinct seals on their necks matched those of the ones they killed later. She couldn't hold it in any longer. Her wails erupted, filled with grievance. Boo-hoo-hoo. You're bullying me too much. I'm never playing with you again. As she sobbed, she pulled out her hairpiece and threw it hard into Jiang Fan's arms. Then she turned her back to him and squatted on the bird's back, crying her eyes out. To beat Jiang Fan this time, she had truly gone all out. Never before had she taken something so seriously. But in the end, she lost completely and utterly. Jiang Fan rubbed his nose and muttered to himself, did I win a little too hard? Should have brought fewer heads to make it easier for her. As these words left his mouth, Wu Manyu cried even harder, pounding her legs. He still thinks I'm useless. Wah! Jiang Fan awkwardly scratched his head. He decided not to say anything further. He gathered her hairpiece and also picked up the barrel of 5-colored spirit liquid from the ground. Clearing his throat, he walked to Wu Manyu's back and gently patted her shoulder, saying, it's not like you haven't gained anything either. Don't forget what we discovered. Wu Manyu suddenly stopped crying, her beautiful eyes widening, then lighting up with joy. The Hell Beast. We discovered the Hell Beast. Ren Guheng, who was still sulking, also snapped awake. I almost forgot. That's our biggest accomplishment this trip. He quickly pulled out his identity token. Using his finger like a pen, he wrote on the token, Hell Beast sighted near Spirit Beast Sect, Ren Guheng. Jiang Fan also swiftly took out his token and copied his actions. Seeing Jiang Fan's confusion, Ren Guheng explained, our heavenly mechanism pavilion's identity tokens serve as communication jade tokens, but they only transmit information to the pavilion. The pavilion can't send messages to us, and we disciples can't communicate with each other. Jiang Fan understood. It's a one-way communication magic artifact. With these tokens in hand, the heavenly mechanism pavilion essentially has countless pairs of eyes and ears. Wu Manyu, equally excited, wrote down her own message. After a moment's pause, she added, however, the final credit is based on the most recent information. If pavilion experts arrive and the Hell Beast is still here, then the discovery credit belongs to us. But if the Hell Beast relocates and is found by other disciples elsewhere, bringing experts over, the credit will go to them. Jiang Fan nodded slightly. That's how it should be. Only valuable information matters. Otherwise, if Jiang Fan and the others were credited for discovering the Hell Beast and it escaped, who would risk their lives to keep tracking its whereabouts? They could only hope the pavilion master arrived sooner, and swiftly dealt with the Hell Beast. Boom! At that moment, from the horizon behind them, the towering Spirit Beast sect erupted with a deafening roar. A red streak burst forth from the rolling smoke clouds, and after scanning the surroundings, it locked onto them and sped toward them. Damn it! Jiang Fan's heart skipped a beat. How did he manage to escape? What is that Hell Beast even good for? Ren Guheng and Wu Manyu's scalps tingled. Wu Manyu quickly tore open a space scroll, saying, Jiang Fan, you killed the most. He's definitely coming for you. Jiang Fan's face darkened. But you killed with the most glee. Summoning the 9 Heavens Thunder Dragon, he fled without hesitation. Ren Guheng shuddered. You two are the most conniving, the carefree masters surely targeting you both. He pulled out those shriveled wings. Without a word, the 3 turned into streaks of light and shot toward the horizon. Moments later, the carefree master caught up to the bird. At this point, he was heavily wounded. His red robe was shredded into strips, half of his skull was broken off, and white brain matter dripped down from his ear. One of his eyeballs had even popped out. Anyone else in the core formation realm would have been dead long ago, yet the carefree master still exuded a shocking vitality. You brats! His face was filled with vengeful rage. After using his last life-saving trump card, he had barely managed to escape the Hell Beast. And the ones who'd put him in such a dire state were none other than these pesky black-clad disciples. When he saw the massive collection of severed heads on the bird's back, his already vengeful expression transformed into pure fury. "Allah, you killed all my disciples. You're dead." His bloodshot eyes locked onto Jiang Fan's thunder dragon, and roaring in rage, he charged straight toward them. Beast sect came a roar that shook the mountains and rivers. The massive mountain, split into two, blasted apart by an unstoppable force of the absolute pinnacle. A colossal shadow, radiating boundless ferocity, burst forth. Its blood moon eyes swept over and fixed on Carefree Master. No, it was staring in Jiang Fan's direction. Without hesitation, it stepped into the void and gave chase. Shh at the edge of the heavens. Jiang Fan, having used Cloud Shadow 8 times in succession, materialized nearly 300 miles away. This area was a hilly region. A small village dotted the river in the distance. It was dusk. Smoke curled lazily from the village chimneys. A shepherd boy rode an old buffalo, blowing a whistle made from willow bark, heading home cheerfully. The elderly men at the village entrance dispersed, each carrying a small stool as they headed back to their homes. Jiang Fan's thoughts shifted, and he took out the 1,000 illusion crown, placing it on his head. With the activation of his spiritual power, a faint milky white glow emerged, covering his face. In an instant, he transformed into a weathered and rough-skinned middle-aged man, sun-darkened to a reddish hue. He then shed his black robes, changing into simple clothes he'd worn long ago. Feigning nonchalance, he picked up a bundle of firewood and tied it loosely, hefting it onto his shoulder. Striding casually toward the foot of the mountain, boom, the sky thundered. The forests of the mountain erupted into fierce winds. Carefree Master had tracked him here, following the residual traces of thunder breath. Looking down, he spotted a woodcutter not far away. He descended and landed in front of the man. "Ah, a ghost!" The woodcutter threw down the pile of firewood from his shoulder in terror and turned to run up the mountain. Carefree Master touched the left side of his face, which was mangled with brain matter and gore. With a sinister expression, he roared, "I ask you, did you see anyone just now?" The woodcutter collapsed to the ground in fright, backing away on his legs and trembling all over, even his lips quivering uncontrollably. "Someone? I didn't see anyone." Carefree Master was infuriated, but he didn't suspect anything. Jiang Fan had an invisibility talisman. Deceiving a mountain peasant was far too easy. Narrowing his eyes, he scanned the surroundings. Confirming there was no trace of the invisibility talisman, he turned toward the nearby village, snorted from his nose, and sped away as a crimson blur. Unbeknownst to him, not long after he left, the woodcutter stood up, dusted off his back, and revealed a hint of a sly smile. "If you just suspected my identity for a second, you would have noticed something was off." The 1,000 illusion crown only worked effectively on nascent soul experts who weren't deliberately investigating. Once they harbored suspicion, a glance would reveal the truth. Swiftly, he dismantled his disguise. Indeed, as Wu Manyu had said, activating the crown's disguise ability drained spiritual power immensely. In just this short amount of time, half of his spiritual power had already been spent. If Carefree Master had interrogated me just a bit longer, I'd have slipped up for sure. He activated the invisibility effect of the 1,000 illusion crown. Silently sneaking deeper into the mountain, this hilly expanse stretched endlessly. Once inside and well hidden, Carefree Master searching for him would be like fishing for a needle in the ocean. Suddenly, a loud commotion came from the village at the foot of the mountain. He took out the sky observation treasure and peered into the village from a distance. Just one glance and his expression darkened. Carefree Master, having found no answers at the village entrance, had casually destroyed an elderly man's thatched cottage by the roadside. The old man didn't escape in time and was crushed beneath the cottage, his head poking out from the rubble, barely breathing. The villagers at the entrance were paralyzed in terror, soiling themselves. Some knelt on the ground, begging as if praying to a bodhisattva. Carefree Master pointed at them, towering over them as he asked something. The sky observation treasure had no sound, but it was clear he was asking about Jiang Fan's whereabouts. How would the villagers know? Receiving no useful information, Carefree Master glanced around the village, his eyes flashing with vicious intent. He raised his palm swiftly. 2 fire beams flickered wildly in his hand. Jiang Fan's heart skipped a beat. Carefree Master believed Jiang Fan was hiding in the village. intent on slaughtering everyone in the village, thinking better to kill 1,000 wrongly than to let one escape. And the villagers were completely ignorant of what was about to happen. The shepherd boy still peeked out from behind his kneeling mother, curiously eyeing the fire beams in carefree master's palms. To him, they looked like firecrackers from the New Year celebrations. Once they exploded, they were both loud and beautiful, entirely unaware he was about to face hell on earth. "Shit! You damned beast!" Jiang Fan's eyes burned with rage. He removed the 1,000 illusion crown and stood atop the mountain peak, roaring, "I'm right here. Come chase me if you've got the guts." Then, he unsheathed the purple sword and decisively soared away on foot. Just as he flew a few hundred feet, the spot where he'd stood moments ago was slammed down upon by a terrifying red figure, causing the mountain peak to collapse violently. The small hill was split wide open. The ferocious shockwaves surged outward, shaking Jiang Fan midair hundreds of feet away, making him plummet from his flying sword. Before he could hit the ground, a fire beam of apocalyptic destruction shot straight at him. Jiang Fan's pupils shrank and he shouted, "Don't you care about your grave soil?" SHHH. The fire beam barely changed course, scraping past him mere hundreds of feet away. Instantly, half of his robes were melted away, exposing his skin, red and raw as if boiling. The debilitating pain made Jiang Fan gasp sharply. Even the air he inhaled was scorching, making it unbearably uncomfortable. Sensing an explosive figure rushing toward him, he urgently clenched a space storage device and roared, "Touch me once and I'll crush the space storage device." Within 3 feet of him, Carefree Master's blazing, fiery hand froze in place. He narrowed his venomous old eyes, locking onto the space storage device in Jiang Fan's palm. With Jiang Fan's current strength, crushing a space storage device posed no difficulty. Once the device shattered, everything within would be consumed by spatial destruction. Originally, Carefree Master wanted to torture Jiang Fan until he was reduced to a wretched state, make him beg for life and beg for death, then extract the spell for the device bit by bit. Now, though, he hesitated. He couldn't cross Jiang Fan recklessly. "Hand over the space storage device and hand over the spell? I'll give you a quick death." Carefree Master stared at Jiang Fan, his expression colder than a hell beast, resembling a man-eating monster. Jiang Fan finally collapsed onto the ground. Clutching the space storage device tightly, he cautiously got up, his face wavering uncertainly. Carefree Master sneered coldly, "Don't bother with wishful thinking anymore. In front of a nascent soul, none of your tricks will work. Before you can make a move, I can kill you." Jiang Fan's heart sank. These words were painfully true. No matter how powerful a tactic, it required time to execute. If he acted recklessly, Carefree Master could preemptively end him, utterly and decisively. After a long silence, Jiang Fan said, "Fine, I'll give it to you. But I need to go somewhere first." Carefree Master retorted, "Don't try any tricks or I swear I'll kill you even if I lose the grave soil," slaughtering all his disciples and causing him to end up as a barely human, disfigured wreck. Today, even if the gods descended, Jiang Fan would die. Jiang Fan flew through the air on his flying sword. Carefree Master followed coldly 3 meters behind, ready to kill Jiang Fan at any moment. But Jiang Fan wasn't playing any tricks. He arrived at the small village and helped the villagers rescue the old man from beneath the ruins. Seeing him on the brink of death, Jiang Fan took out a revitalizing pill and fed it to him. Carefree Master's eyes narrowed. "Is this a top spirit pill? And you're using it on an old man who's about to die? You're really not thinking straight." Jiang Fan had headed to a place with such solemnity. What did he intend to do? Turned out it was to save a mortal old man, utterly baffling. Jiang Fan turned to glance at him, calmly saying, "In your eyes, he is an ant. But in the eyes of those in the divinity transformation realm, in the eyes of a great sage, aren't you also an ant? A life is just a life. No one's life is more precious than another's." Carefree Master's face was cold and dark. He had just been lectured by a junior. He snorted heavily from his nostrils. "Is it done? If so, find yourself a nice spot and I'll send you on your way." At that moment, a young herdsman suddenly broke free from his mother's hand and ran up to Jiang Fan. "Uncle," he looked up with his distinct black and white eyes, timidly saying. Jiang Fan touched his own soot-covered face, amused yet helpless. He squatted down and patted the boy's head. "What's up, little brother?" The herdsman rubbed his nose and said, "Thank you, Uncle, for saving Grandpa Wang. I'll give you this." His 2 little black hands held up a whistle made from a willow bark. He noticed his saliva still clinging to the whistle. Embarrassed, he wiped it off with his fingers, saying, "There, it's clean now." Jiang Fan smiled and took it with both hands. Thank you. Big brother really likes it. The herdsman grinned sheepishly and hid behind his mother again. Jiang Fan waved to him. I wish you a lifetime of good fortune. Little friend. He stood on his flying sword and soared into the sky. Carefree Master closely followed. They flew over several mountains. Finally, Carefree Master lost his patience and pointed to a barren mountaintop below. I think that will do just fine. Jiang Fan looked down for a moment, said nothing, and descended directly. This mountain was surrounded by water on 3 sides, with 2 slightly lower peaks flanking either side, like a throne overlooking the landscape. Indeed, a place with good feng shui. All right, this will do. Jiang Fan raised his tightly clenched fist. As his 5 fingers slowly unfolded, a space storage device with a paper note attached came into Carefree Master's sight. Before he could see what was on the paper note, Jiang Fan quickly tore it off and hid it behind him. Carefree Master snatched the space storage device and scanned it, but his thoughts were immediately blocked, indicating it indeed required a spell. He squinted and said, What was on that paper you took? Hand it over. Jiang Fan resisted a bit, then sighed. Fine, if I don't give it to you, you'll force me to anyway. He tossed the paper over. Carefree Master opened it and saw written neatly on it the 8 large characters, Wealth flows into the 4 seas. He frowned. What's this? Jiang Fan helplessly said, It's the spell for the space storage device. Since you've seen it, there's no need for further questioning. Kill me now. Carefree Master looked suspicious. Who would write the spell for a space storage device on a note and stick it to the device itself? Aren't you afraid someone could just take it directly? Jiang Fan ignored him. He picked a flat boulder and lay on it honestly, silently awaiting death. A flash of murderous intent appeared in Carefree Master's eyes, but he restrained himself by force. He could not be sure the spell on the note was real. If it was fake and this kid died, where would he find the spell? He thought it best to try the spell's authenticity first. You better not be deceiving me. If you gave me a fake spell, I don't mind letting you experience some torture. He immediately gripped the space storage device, glanced at the spell on the note, silently recited in his heart. Wealth flows into the 4 seas. Ka-chunk. A mysterious opening sound was heard. The spell was correct. This kid had accepted his fate and hadn't played tricks. He planned to go easy on him just a little later. Thinking thus, Carefree Master probed the space inside. But as soon as he probed, boom, a blood-red arc of light burst out of the space storage device without warning. It emerged too quickly, too suddenly, caught too close. Carefree Master barely managed a single heartbeat before the blood-red arc pierced his chest, leaving an arc-shaped cut through his front and back. Puff, the next moment. It seemed as if a mountain flood erupted inside him. Blood and fractured flesh spewed forth from the wound. This bloodlight had shredded his internal organs, took his life. Carefree Master roared in pain, finally realizing he had been tricked. This is Jiangshan First-Class Building's Vice Master's space storage device. You deceived me. He clutched the wound on his chest, trying to stop the flesh and blood from gushing out. But to no avail. His life was visibly draining away. Jiang Fan somehow had gotten back on his feet and said blandly, I never said this was my space storage device. It was your assumption. What could I do? Ah, Carefree Master was livid with rage, roared, You brat. I'll kill you first. Jiang Fan clenched his palm and a mighty heavenly power burst forth. Carefree Master sneered, A mere jade talisman useless against me, a nascent soul great cultivator. You could activate it, but I'd have enough time to kill you several times over. Jiang Fan coldly replied, First see what this is. A talisman arrow woven from talisman paper, emitting a powerful spiritual pressure. Carefree Master's pupils constricted. Talisman arrow, Jiang Fan warned. In your current heavily injured state, can you endure a pursuit by a talisman arrow? Carefree Master's expression changed between anger and despair. His life at this moment was hanging by a thread. There was no way he could endure more injuries. If he rushed to heal now, there might be a chance to save his life. Otherwise, he could at least let his nascent soul escape to possess and rebuild. Thinking this, he glared at Jiang Fan angrily and spitefully said, You brat! Having harmed me so, having killed so many of our disciples, you wait for the wrath of the Divine Movement sect. When the time comes, no one will be able to protect you. Jiang Fan's eyes gleamed with cold light. If you put it that way, then I can only go to the end with you. He was about to crush the talisman arrow. Carefree Master, frightened, hurriedly fled into the sky. Ha! With such little courage, you dare seek revenge? Jiang Fan chuckled. The ones who should be worried aren't Jiang Fan and the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, but rather the Divine Movement sect. If Jiang Fan exposes their excavation of the great sage tomb, the Divine Movement sect would be in enormous trouble, especially since they have nothing to silence the masses. If Jiang Fan isn't looking to trouble them, they should count their blessings. How could they dare to provoke Jiang Fan? Considering this, he felt pleased in body and mind. He took out the whistle given by the young herdsman and joyfully blew on it. The whistle's sound echoed loudly through the mountains. Soon after, he hid in the cave of a bear. He retrieved the space storage device containing the bundled grave soil from the heavenly thunder stone. Without surprise, this space storage device should be communal without any spells necessary, because at that time, several disciples were transferring the grave soil into the space storage device together. If there had been a spell, everyone needed to recite the spell mentally every time they loaded the soil. And after one person opened it, once the space closed, another would have to shout to open it again. But they acted swiftly, loading everything within moments. It was apparent that this space storage device could be opened freely. Expectantly, he scanned inside. As it turned out, the space storage device opened directly. A sight of scattered grave soil appeared before him. Come, come. Let me, on behalf of your Divine Movement sect, see. What's extraordinary in this tomb that took you 3 generations to find? He poured out all the burial soil. At a glance, all he could see were a few rotting feathers. He threw them aside. Using a jade trowel, Jiang Fan meticulously leveled the burial soil piece by piece to ensure nothing was overlooked. Every clump of dirt was ground to dust. During the process, he found a few more rotting feathers. An hour passed. Looking at the countless granules of burial soil scattered across the ground, he couldn't help but start doubting. Could it be that something went wrong? Gazing at the last small pile of burial soil left, he gritted his teeth and patiently smashed it bit by bit. What if a miracle was hiding in the end? But even after flattening the last piece of soil, still there was nothing. Jiang Fan was so frustrated he almost threw the jade trowel in his hand. Are you kidding me? Half a day and this is all I get. In the end, apart from finding a pile of rotten feathers, there was absolutely nothing else. He was deeply dissatisfied. Could it be that something had been overlooked within the grave itself? But he had watched them excavate it. It was just a small burial mound with nothing else around. If something were truly here, it had to be within this burial soil. This doesn't make any sense. That endless supply of earth phoenix grass juice must have a source. Rubbing his chin, he pondered for a long while. He turned his gaze back to the soil spread all over the ground. After a moment of thought, he pulled out the mountain river tripod. Could it be that some kind of intangible substance is mixed within the soil? For instance, like yin marrow, which bursts into yin qi when shattered, but condenses into crystals when gathered. After a bit of contemplation, he grabbed a handful of burial soil and stuffed it into the mountain river tripod. He tried activating the small tripod. The burial soil showed no change. It seemed that the soil was just plain soil with no condensed space hiding within. However, Jiang Fan carefully noticed a faint red-yellow mist lingering on the surface of the burial soil. Oh! He revealed a look of tentative disbelief. He put more of the burial soil into the tripod. The result: the faint red-yellow mist became much clearer. Hiss, there really is something inside. Jiang Fan grew excited and quickly scooped all the burial soil into the tripod. What was initially a palm-sized tripod automatically expanded to the size of a small burial mound. As Jiang Fan poured his spiritual power into it, the red-yellow mist grew denser and more substantial. Finally, when it condensed to its utmost limit, a stunning red-yellow feather appeared, suspended inside the tripod. This is... Jiang Fan scrutinized it carefully, his expression turning a bit strange. A chicken feather? He began doubting his own judgment, but it was indeed just the feather of a large rooster. Could it be that this so-called Earth Phoenix is actually a giant rooster? A rooster cultivated to the level of a true spirit? Jiang Fan felt a little dizzy. The implications were a bit too much to handle. Taking a moment to recover, he returned his gaze to the feather suspended in the tripod. He tried to grab it with his hand, but his palm passed right through it. It seemed to still be nothing more than an illusory stream of energy. Jiang Fan couldn't help but grumble. After all this, all I get is a useless chicken feather. What a waste of my time. Cluck, cluck, cluck out of nowhere. A loud, piercing crow suddenly erupted from the feather. Immediately afterward, the glowing feather spun, its tip aiming straight at Jiang Fan. With a whoosh, it shot right into his chest. What the? Jiang Fan jumped in shock, quickly tearing open his collar to take a look. A bright feather-shaped mark was now emblazoned on his chest. It looked as though it had been tattooed on, impossible to rub off no matter how hard he tried. It was as if the feather had taken offense to Jiang Fan's earlier complaints and decided to make its home on him out of spite. The more he disliked it, the more stubbornly it clung to him, refusing to leave. "How long have you been dead? And you're still holding a grudge?" Jiang Fan felt a surge of exasperation. This giant rooster must have been a hot-headed creature in life. Who knew if this feather would bring him trouble? Suddenly, he heard faint rustling sounds. Peering out of the cave cautiously, he was startled to see ants, centipedes, snakes, and various insects all scuttling away as if fleeing from a predator. He looked down at his chest in astonishment and muttered, "It's somewhat useful at least. At the very least, I won't have to worry about being bitten by bugs while sleeping." Frowning, he brooded for quite a while. In the end, he sighed and said, "I'll focus on improving my strength first. I'll figure out how to get rid of this feather later." With a thought, he took out the tribulation thunder stored within a heavenly thunder stone, intending to refine his undying blade to the second layer. At the same time, Carefree Master was fleeing at full speed. He finally arrived at a patch of amber-colored earth, and after confirming there was no immediate danger around him, hastily took out some healing pills. After swallowing them, the violent churning of blood and flesh in his body finally began to subside. His life had been saved, but his vitality was severely depleted. It would take at least a year to recover fully and return to his peak state. "You little bastard!" Carefree Master cursed Jiang Fan with every fiber of his being. After harboring that grudge for a long while, he turned his gaze to the space storage device in his palm. Luckily, he hasn't reached the nascent soul realm yet. If he had, with me this badly injured, he could have killed me easily. Who would have thought that brat managed to get his hands on the space storage device of Jiangshan First-Class Building's Deputy Pavilion Master? Deputy Pavilion Master-grade storage devices tend to contain astonishing treasures. A smile crept onto his face. Perhaps this trip wasn't a total loss after all. He picked up the storage device, preparing to explore its contents. Suddenly, darkness enveloped him. At first, he assumed a cloud had drifted overhead. But as the surroundings grew darker and darker, he looked up and nearly lost his soul in terror. It was a hell beast. Its eyes sparkled with amusement as it spoke in human tongue. "That little people clan brat is quite something. He almost managed to kill another nascent soul." Almost. Carefree Master suddenly realized how the space storage device in his hand had come into Jiang Fan's possession. That brat had actually killed Jiangshan First-Class Building's Deputy Pavilion Master to claim it. That bastard, is he really this strong? But there was no time to think further. He shot 2 bolts of fire at the hell beast before turning to flee without looking back. The hell beast chuckled faintly. "Can you really escape?" Its massive form turned into a shadow that surged forward to smother him. "Ah, no, spare me." A heavily injured Carefree Master stood no chance of surviving that strike. He was instantly crushed, his body erupting into fragments beneath the creature's palm. A palm-sized soul body, clutching 2 space storage devices, tried to flee. The hell beast let out a sinister laugh, extending its claws to snatch the tiny soul. A soul body that should have been incorporeal was seized effortlessly by the creature. Amid Carefree Master's wailing screams, it tossed him into its mouth. Crunch, crunch, crunch. A gruesome mix of chewing sounds and agonized screams echoed from the hell beast's maw. Mere moments later, it tilted its head back and swallowed. A nascent soul expert had been devoured alive. Soon after, the hell beast's enormous form began to shrink, until it transformed into an aged humanoid body. Looking into its eyes, they were identical to Carefree Master's. The hell beast, upon consuming a soul, could mimic the exact appearance of its victim's physical body. It opened its mouth and spat out 2 space storage devices. One belonged to the Carefree Master. Having consumed his soul, the hell beast seemed to have absorbed his memories as well. With a mutter of an incantation, it easily opened the storage device. Glancing through it briefly, it frowned. "Not here, so that burial soil is still with that human clan brat. The burial soil contains a remnant soul of the Earth Phoenix Great Sage. Even I dare not disturb it lightly. That little people clan brat better not awaken the remnant soul and end up killing himself." After a pause, a flicker of cruelty passed through its eyes. "That brat's spiritual pet took my nemesis, the merit divine pearl. I must reclaim it." With that thought, it retrieved a set of black robes from its space storage device. Smirking, it said, "Isn't he searching the world for the hell beast? Let me grant his wish, by delivering myself to him." Again, let's talk about Jiang Fan. after a half-day of painstaking cultivation. The mountain forest within an 800 Jiang radius has already turned into scorched ruins. Cultivated to the middle tier, and the range of the undying blade reaches 800 Jiang. Is this the effect of the Void Flow Thunder Force's enhancement? Under normal circumstances, it should be 400 Jiang. Jiang Fan was shocked repeatedly. According to the description of the cultivation technique, the first tier of the undying blade can reach 100 Jiang, the second tier 400 Jiang, the third tier 1,000 Jiang. With the enhancement of the Void Flow Thunder Force, the undying blade he unleashed doubled in power. 800 Jiang. It is already incredibly close to the strike of the Green Crane Masters. Below the nascent soul realm, aside from those who have survived tribulation at the 9th layer perfection of core formation with some immunity to thunderbolts, the rest would hardly withstand such a strike. Of course, the energy cost of this strike is a colossal drain. The thunder path power within his body would be instantaneously emptied. If I cultivate to the third tier under the enhancement of the Void Flow Thunder Force, wouldn't it reach 2,000 Jiang in a single strike? Stronger than the strike of the Green Crane Masters. When this idea occurred to him, his eyes gleamed with excitement. If only he could return to that thunder pool one more time. Or make a deal with the deputy building master from Jiangshan first-class building to obtain that thunder orb. Thinking of the latter, he hurriedly shook his head. Crazy? Why did I think about her? I even had the audacity to squeeze and kiss her. If she sees me again, she'll slice me into 101 pieces, then burn me into ashes and mix me with flour to make buns, feeding them to dogs afterwards, right? His body shivered slightly as he got up to leave. This place had made such a commotion, it could easily be seen through by someone. Just as he exited the cave, he saw a familiar silhouette flash past overhead. Clad in a bright orange short-sleeve buttoned shirt with a goose-yellow long skirt. Her jet-black hair was styled into adorable celestial buns. 2 long pink silk ribbons swayed beautifully with the wind. But the most recognizable feature was the painted Beijing opera mask on her face. Who else could it be but the deputy building master from Jiangshan first-class building? Damn, this is like a dream coming true, a nightmare dream. He quickly shrank back into the cave, hiding completely without moving. In the skies above, Xin'er muttered incessantly with her small mouth. The building master is so annoying. I was earning merit peacefully, yet he insisted on summoning me here to take a look. Said something about Deputy Building Master Yan's space storage device causing a disturbance nearby. Why didn't he come himself? He just knows how to boss me around. The remnant soul in her hairpin said, perhaps he's tied up with something. Xin'er scoffed. Isn't he just worried about the thunder extension order in Deputy Building Master Yan's space storage device? If I manage to kill that little scoundrel Jiang Fan, I might also get one myself. The remnant soul in the hairpin shook its head lightly. Given the building master's status, he wouldn't personally come here for just a thunder extension order. Perhaps there's an even more valuable treasure in Yan Daeon's space storage device. Oh, Xin'er responded indifferently. No matter how valuable the treasure, what does it have to do with me? The building master is stingy. He'll even charge me for asking additional questions. Even if I find that treasure, he wouldn't share it with me. The remnant soul asked curiously. Then why did you rush here so eagerly upon receiving the order? Xin'er's eyes narrowed into crescent moons, and she replied, naturally, I came to try my luck and see if I'll come across that little scoundrel. This moon realm, the heavens know when I'll obtain it. But I can't just keep sulking, can I? Lately, the more I think about it, the angrier I get. The angrier I get, the more I think. How dare he squeeze me like that? After squeezing, he even said it was a firm grasp. That damned brat. I might not kill him yet, but surely I can beat him up, right? The remnant soul shook its metaphorical head in disbelief. Still holding a grudge over a firm grasp. That gesture seems to have left quite a mark. She coughed lightly. You, stop overthinking. The heavens are vast. Where will you run into him? This place is desolate and remote without a soul in sight. How could he possibly? She stopped mid-sentence, because she faintly sensed something. Looking down at the mountain cave beneath her feet, the expression on the remnant soul's face froze. What the? Even here they run into each other. Are they fated for disaster together? What's the matter, master? Hearing her master abruptly stop speaking, Xin'er asked inquisitively. The remnant soul stammered, and nothing. It tried its best to cover up nervously. If Xin'er discovered Jiang Fan, wouldn't she break his teeth? Xin'er thought nothing of it and continued grumbling angrily. That little scoundrel, if I come across him. I'll definitely break the hand that touched me. Let's see him firmly grasp. firmly grasp. Once the commotion in the sky quieted down, Jiang Fan cautiously emerged. Plastering a dustless talisman onto himself, he hurried off in the opposite direction, muttering to himself, "Daylight meeting ghosts. Even in this barren wilderness, I run into her." Drawing out the purple sword, he decisively took off on it. Moments later, glancing back, he saw the female deputy building owner's figure had already vanished. Only then did he feel slightly relieved, but just then, his overhead view darkened slightly, looking up. A white cloud had drifted across to block the sun. At first, Jiang Fan didn't register anything, but after flying for a while, he was still shrouded beneath the white cloud. What kind of white cloud is fast enough to move so swiftly? Jiang Fan's eyes flashed. Without making a sound, he discreetly took out a nascent soul jade token and activated it in his sleeve. The ability to control a white cloud could only belong to a nascent soul realm expert, right? And such a person, following him covertly, could hardly mean goodwill, correct? Once the activation was complete, he suddenly struck out. A deadly blow aimed fiercely at the white cloud overhead. Boom, a shadow of an unstoppable black blade tore through a 1,000-jang stretch of sky, slashing into the white cloud. With a muffled sound, the white cloud was shattered, revealing an elderly man in a black robe. His arm shielded his torso. The devastating nascent soul strike only tore his robe, leaving his arm unscathed. Such ruthless execution! The man's hoarse voice addressed Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan's heart pounded wildly. This voice, those eyes, wasn't this the carefree master he encountered earlier? Wasn't he severely wounded? How is he now entirely recovered? No, wait, this man isn't carefree master. Who are you? Jiang Fan's expression turned grim. For a moment he couldn't discern this man's identity. He. The robed figure chuckled softly, raising his right hand to touch the two space storage devices on it. One belonged to Yan Daeon, the other to carefree master. Yet Jiang Fan's attention wasn't on the storage rings. Instead, it was, this hand, it only had 4 fingers. Jiang Fan's pupils instantly contracted to pinpoints. Seems there's no need for introductions. The black-robed elder rose from his seated posture. An overwhelming, suffocating aura emanated from him. With a faint smile, he spoke. "Young one, hand over that spiritual pet which stole my merit divine pearl. I'll show mercy this once and grant you a swift end." Jiang Fan's gaze turned grave. Mercy, like how the divine movement sect disciples were crushed like melons. His heart sank further. The power of the hell beast seemed far greater than a typical nascent soul. How could he possibly escape? Suddenly, the image of the female deputy building master flashed in his mind. Brightness abruptly dawned in his eyes. She wasn't the vengeance-seeking deputy building owner. She was clearly a female bodhisattva. Fan indifferently, like looking at an insect. If it wished, it could crush him effortlessly. Jiang Fan coughed awkwardly and said, "Xin'er, my spirit beast has been captured." The hell beast's eyes revealed a hint of mockery. "No need to act in front of me. I know just how cunning you are. When you poisoned that nascent soul, I was watching the whole time. Honestly, I admire you. Such a method to poison a nascent soul is the first I've ever seen." Jiang Fan sighed helplessly. He pulled open his clothes, showing the inside and out. "If it were on me, Xin'er, you would surely sense it." The hell beast furrowed its brow. Closing its eyes to sense, indeed, it could not detect the little spirit beast's presence. Instead, there seemed to be a faint signal emanating from the direction of the heavenly mechanism pavilion. "It's truly not on you. It appears to be in a very sealed location." The hell beast lowered its gaze, lost in thought. But Jiang Fan felt killing intent converge. The killing intent directed at someone who had lost their usefulness. He instinctively stepped back a few steps. Carefully said, "Xin'er, grievances have their spiritual roots. If you're seeking vengeance, go after my spirit beast." Ideally, when he reached the heavenly mechanism pavilion, he'd encounter the pavilion master and the Canghai demon emperor right then, and they'd kill him on the spot. The hell beast nodded lightly. "Grievances have their spiritual roots. What you said is quite true. Then, since you broke my finger, taking your life would be only fair and just." It suddenly raised its head, a cold smile flickering in its eyes. Then it flicked its finger. A terrifying blast of chi force shot toward Jiang Fan. Given its temperament, how could it possibly let Jiang Fan off so easily? Swish! But what froze its smile was this. Jiang Fan transformed into a bolt of lightning, soaring into the skies, and immediately stepping on a thunder dragon to vanish in an instant. "Thunder escape technique!" Its finger flick came up empty, and the hell beast chuckled wryly. "To think killing an insect still lets it slip through. Now I'm curious to see how far you can run." At the edge of the horizon, Xin'er flew leisurely, humming a cheerful tune. Ding-a-lang-da-dong, ding-a-lang-dong, ding-a! Swish, a thunder dragon suddenly streaked overhead, dispersing in front of her. A figure hovered midair on top of the purple sword, her gaze sharpened with surprise. Jiang Fan. No, how did he suddenly appear before her? The remnant soul in her hairpin also froze, not hiding and instead darting right toward Xin'er. She had planned on orchestrating an unplanned, coincidental encounter. And now he's delivering himself straight to her. Jiang Fan cupped his hands and said, "Xin'er, we meet again." Xin'er unconsciously returned the gesture, clasping her hands. Oh, it's been a while. Wait a minute." She quickly dropped her hands. Her brilliant eyes widened. Why was she even politely greeting this scoundrel? This damned pest, daring to show his face to her. If she didn't break his wrist, it'd be a disgrace to heaven and earth. "Xin'er, please calm your anger." Jiang Fan spoke quickly before she could become enraged and said, "To be frank, I've come to save you. The Hell Beast has set its sights on you, and this junior risked life to warn you. Please take care, this junior must now make his leave." With those words, he summoned another thunder dragon to prepare his escape. Xin'er couldn't believe his nonsense. No, calling it nonsense was an insult to nonsense. Nonsense tends to mix truth and lies to deceive people. This guy's mouth, there wasn't a single word of truth in it. Trying to run? Stay here for me? Xin'er was elated that Jiang Fan had delivered himself up for a beating. This was like throwing dumplings to a dog. Wait, no. More accurately, it was like a lamb walking into the jaws of a tiger. And she, the tiger, was a she-tiger. Roar. She unleashed her nascent soul power, drawing the atmospheric pressure around her and solidifying it into a massive hand. The hand swung fiercely toward Jiang Fan, but from her hairpin came the remnant soul's somber warning. "Be cautious. That dreadful presence is truly the Hell Beast." What? Xin'er jolted with shock. She decisively turned around, channeling her condensed air hand to attack behind her. Though separated by dozens of meters, the air hand still exploded with considerable force. But the Hell Beast casually waved, splitting the attack apart, slicing through the atmosphere and rushing forth. The remnant soul's pupils contracted. "4 apertures, nascent soul realm. You're no match, run quickly." Xin'er's scalp tingled. 4 apertures, nascent soul. Even many outer realm divine sect leaders might not reach the 4 apertures nascent soul realm. Even the Jiangshan first-class building owner was only a 5 apertures nascent soul. With her fledgling nascent soul, she couldn't even begin to contend. Terrified, she turned and fled. At that moment, a hand stretched out. "Xin'er, let me take you away." Xin'er turned to look and found it was Jiang Fan. Momentarily stunned, this guy had truly come to save her, warned her about the Hell Beast's pursuit, and now was braving death to help her escape. For a brief moment, she felt dazed. The righteous Jiang Fan before her seemed nothing like the rogue she detested. Could they really be the same person? Considering Jiang Fan's incredible thunder dragon speed, her lips twitched slightly, and she took his extended hand, whispering, "Thank you." The remnant soul in her hairpin wiped its face. Sighed deeply, "My poor foolish girl, you actually believe his lies. Clearly the Hell Beast was chasing him, and now he's just using you as cover to escape. And yet you thank him." She saw it all play out and felt both frustration and resignation. She initially wanted to warn her, but on second thought, wasn't this just another lesson for Xin'er? The more setbacks one experiences, the wiser one becomes. So she pretended ignorance. "Xin'er, you're too kind." Jiang Fan responded, polite as ever. Xin'er glanced up at him with mild suspicion. "Don't you fear my revenge?" Jiang Fan replied frankly. "Of course I fear it. I know the deputy pavilion master despises me deeply. However, the enmity between us amounts to personal grievances at best. Now, facing the devastation of the Hell Beast, such matters are trivial compared to it being a common enemy of the human clan. In the face of external threats, I ask Xin'er to set aside our disputes for now. Once the crisis is over, you can seek me out for retribution at any time." His words of nobility left Xin'er momentarily speechless. For the sake of humanity, Jiang Fan was willing to risk his life to save her, his enemy. How could she continue screaming for his death? She nodded slightly in agreement. "All right, we'll settle our accounts later." The remnant soul in her hairpin shook its head endlessly. It worried that one day, Jiang Fan could sell Xin'er off and she'd cheerfully help tally the profits. Jiang Fan remarked, "All right, then hold tight." Grasping her hand, Jiang Fan controlled the thunder dragon and sped away. After his most recent cultivation in thunder path power, cloud shadow technique could now be used up to 12 times. He could escape nearly 400 miles. After 12 uses, the Thunder Dragon dissipated and Jiang Fan sighed. Senior, this junior's Thunder Path power has limits. This is as far as I can instantaneous move. From here, you must rely on yourself. Xin'er asked. What about you? Jiang Fan paused briefly and said, I'll distract the Hell Beast to give Senior a chance at survival. Regardless of whether I survive afterward, I ask Senior to consider letting go of our grudges for today's deed. Truthfully, Jiang Fan already had a mid-tier dustless talisman hidden in his sleeve. This talisman could block the gaze of nascent soul experts. All he needed was to conceal himself. Once the Hell Beast tracked his Thunder Path route, it would naturally pursue Xin'er next. And that way he'd be free. Xin'er pressed her lips tightly together. Her emotions were a tangled mess. Though she deeply wanted to pummel him, she couldn't deny being moved by him now. For once, he didn't seem so loathsome. She even began to reflect. Perhaps she was partly at fault too. If she hadn't pretended to be Liu Qingxian, maybe the misunderstanding wouldn't have happened. Win, Senior, hurry and leave. The Hell Beast will be chasing us soon, Jiang Fan urged. If you don't leave sooner, how can I use the invisibility talisman? However, what Jiang Fan didn't expect was that Xin'er grabbed his arm again. With a resolute look in her eyes, she said, I'll take you with me to escape. What's past is past, let's forget it. With a light touch of her toe, she broke through the air, dashing swiftly toward the distance. The whistling wind swept past Jiang Fan's ears. He turned his head, gazing at the young girl in front of him, wearing a strange mask and sounding rather youthful. A trace of guilt emerged in his heart. This deputy owner of Jiangshan first-class building wasn't as bad as he'd imagined. She had a pure and kind side as well. Receiving kindness from others, she'd naturally think of repaying it. She even chose to set aside grudges for her earlier mistreatment. Yet, he had taken advantage of her like this, even intending to shift the danger onto her. He found it hard to justify. He glanced down at the mid-grade, dustless talisman in his sleeve. This talisman only worked for one person. If he left the deputy owner now, he might save his own life. But to genuinely accompany her would most likely result in being overtaken by the Hell Beast. After some thought, he clenched his jaw and put away the invisibility talisman. He asked, Deputy Owner, do you have a destination for your escape? The remnant soul in the hairpin silently observed Jiang Fan's subtle actions. A look of relief appeared on her face. She watched coldly, naturally taking all of Jiang Fan's little maneuvers into account. If Jiang Fan abandoned Xin'er to save his own life, leaving Xin'er to divert the Hell Beast, then she would have to reconsider whether Xin'er should remain in the presence of such a cold-blooded, ruthless man. But she was very gratified to see Jiang Fan hadn't done that. He too was moved by Xin'er's kindness. Underneath his cunning exterior, he revealed a sincere and noble heart. This person, I've truly made the right choice. Good, very good. If you truly temper Xing'an well, I won't treat you poorly. Xin'er shook her head. I'm unfamiliar with this continent. She looked slightly anxious. 400 miles of distance would hardly suffice to escape the pursuit of a 4 apertures nascent soul cultivator. Jiang Fan pondered and said, Then listen to me. Head toward the northern territory. There's a Tai lake there. If we're lucky, we might survive. If the owner of Jiangshan first-class building was still there, they might manage to scrape by narrowly. If not, then they'd have to hope the heavenly mechanism pavilion masters could arrive in time. As this thought crossed his mind, he withdrew his identity token and sent out a message. Hell Beast, Tai Lake. Xin'er's eyes lit up. She'd also left the heavenly mechanism pavilion after accepting the task of tracking the Hell Beast. Logically, if she sent word back, she ought to earn some share of the merit. With merit in hand, when Jiang Fan demanded access to the Moon Realm, could he refuse? But just as she was about to take out her own token, she paused, stunned. She was, after all, currently the deputy owner of Jiangshan first-class building. If she used a heavenly mechanism pavilion disciple token now, wouldn't her identity be revealed? What's wrong? Seeing her odd hesitation, Jiang Fan inquired. Xin'er stammered, and nothing. She could only gaze helplessly as Jiang Fan provided information about the Hell Beast. A nascent soul cultivator's speed was incredibly fast. The mountains, rivers, and terrain below seemed like retreating shadows, blurred and unrecognizable. This was Jiang Fan's first time being hauled through the skies at such speed by a nascent soul. He couldn't help but curiously ask, Senior, I don't yet know your name. Xin'er's small face behind the mask stiffened. How could she have the nerve to reveal her name now? Otherwise, wouldn't it expose her disguise as a mere disciple approaching Jiang Fan? How embarrassing that would be. Well, my title is Purple Flame Master. Just call me that, Purple Flame Master. Jiang Fan recalled the astonishing and uncanny purple flames emanating from this woman. He nodded. That title is quite fitting. Seeing her bluff go unnoticed, Xin'er casually added, Yes, it was bestowed upon me by the will of an ancient saint when I achieved nascent soul. Oh, Jiang Fan grew curious. The will of an ancient saint. The 9 great ancient saints said to have created the continent. Xin'er replied, Truthfully, I don't understand much about such wills. But every person who breaks through to nascent soul receives a will that bestows a name. It's usually based on some characteristic unique to you. For instance, my body contains purple flames, hence I was named Purple Flame Master. There's such a thing. Jiang Fan found it highly intriguing. Conversing with a nascent soul expert allowed him to learn some novel insights. If one day I have the chance to break through to nascent soul, I wonder what name I'd be given. Xin'er pursed her lips in a pout and muttered softly. Do you even need to wonder? The title Rascal Master, it fits you perfectly. Jiang Fan's face froze. Silently he thought to himself, Ancient saints bear witness. Jiang Fan am absolutely not such a person. When I break through to nascent soul in the future, please grant me a fitting title. Soon, a chilling air descended upon them. They had entered the northern territory of the human clan. They arrived at the location of Tai Lake. After several months, the once-dried Tai Lake had now turned into a completely frozen pit. Is this the place you meant to come to? Xin'er surveyed the surroundings. Apart from the lake, there was nothing particularly remarkable about it here. It would hardly serve to stop the hell beast. Jiang Fan remained silent, appearing lost in thought. The owner of Jiangshan first-class building had already left. The heavenly mechanism, pavilion masters, and the Canghai demon emperor had not arrived. Meanwhile, the ferocious aura of the hell beast surged from the horizon. They say heaven never seals off all paths. But now, it truly feels like the end of the road. Jiang Fan took out the mid-grade, dustless talisman. Grasping Xin'er's hand, he pressed it into her palm and said, You go. I'll stay. This matter was unrelated to her. She had been innocently dragged into it. She deserved to live. Xin'er looked at the talisman in shock. A mid-grade, dustless talisman? Why don't you use it for yourself? This talisman can definitely shield you from the hell beast's detection. Jiang Fan gave a bitter smile. When had he ever had the chance to use it? As soon as he exited, he was targeted by the hell beast. He'd planned to use the thunder escape to gain some distance, and then have Purple Flame Master divert the hell beast. Only then could he safely use this talisman. But who could have foreseen things unfolding like this? I'm giving it to you. Leave quickly and don't leave any traces. Jiang Fan released her hand. In his mind, he began contemplating the various possibilities of confronting the hell beast head-on. The effect of the talisman arrows would be limited. The yin marrow talisman likely wouldn't kill it. The execution pen seemed to be his only chance. At his current cultivation of the 7th layer of core formation, he should be able to write most of the death character with it. Even if he couldn't kill it, he could certainly wound it, but his hand was suddenly grabbed again. Xin'er spoke calmly, I'll stay instead. The hell beast is after me. How can I let you take the hit for me? Find a place to hide. Don't make a sound. I'll lure it away. Jiang Fan was immediately overcome with guilt. Opening his mouth to spill the truth, Xin'er, however, calmly looked at him and let out a soft sigh. I shouldn't have disguised myself as Liu Qingxian to deceive you. I owe you an apology. Having resigned herself to the likelihood of death, she wanted to resolve their grudge. Jiang Fan felt even more remorseful. I shouldn't have offended you either. Xin'er's face flushed crimson. She opened her mouth several times only to stop herself, unable to speak. But as the hell beast's aura grew nearer, and realizing she'd likely die anyway, there was no reason to hold back. Staring intently at Jiang Fan, she asked, Be honest, was that really just a simple grab? Abyss hears the translation of the provided Chinese text into English. At the brink of death, you still care about this. The remnant soul from the hairpin nearly spat out blood. How obsessed is Xin'er with this matter exactly? Say it, Xin'er urged, her face blushing. Jiang Fan's own face flushed red with embarrassment at the question. His peripheral vision caught a glimpse of her rounded, curved chest. It's not that there's nothing there. But honestly, it's not much. He coughed lightly and recalled the diplomatic phrasing of the East Sea Demon Emperor. He said, Xin'er, you'd look good in anything. Xin'er froze for a moment. Realization dawned on her slowly, and she fumed. "So you're saying I'm small? Get lost. Get out of here already. Don't ever let me see you again in this lifetime." She raised her foot in anger, intending to kick him away. Even on the verge of death, she couldn't hear a single word of compliment. Infuriating. Jiang Fan dodged and then looked up at the rolling dark clouds approaching on the horizon. His tone shifted to seriousness. "Stop hesitating, go now. The matter of the hell beast has nothing to do with you." Xin'er stubbornly tried to stuff the dustless talisman back into Jiang Fan's hands, huffing. "I don't want your piece of junk trash. Just go already." They shoved it back and forth. Suddenly, a stream of extreme cold surged from the distant ice valley. Wherever it passed, even the spiritual energy in the air froze solid, turning into icy flakes and drifting with the wind. Xin'er's eyes flashed with shock. What a terrifying cold! Could there possibly be some sort of extreme icy treasure or spiritual object down there? She said it offhandedly. Jiang Fan followed the cold current with his gaze. Its source came from a deep fissure of ice. Wasn't this the very location where Jiang Fan had accidentally discovered the icy cavern when rescuing Liu Qingxian? That icy cavern harbored an extremely dangerous cold. At the time, Jiang Fan hadn't dared to delve deeper. Now, for no apparent reason, why had the cold suddenly erupted? Could the Jiangshan first-class building owner be here? At this thought, a glimmer of delight appeared on his face. He said, "Quick, let's go check it out." Xin'er also felt that the dangerous cold might deter the hell beast. Without hesitation, she grabbed Jiang Fan and flew toward it. Soon enough, they arrived above the abyss-like mouth of the enormous ice cavern. Terrifying streams of cold burst out like springs gushing forth. Xin'er staggered slightly. Despite her nascent soul realm, she was still shaken to the point of instability. What shocking cold! There must be something strange below the ice abyss. It's possible this vast, endless icy world might be connected to this very abyss. Xin'er gazed around, speaking somberly. Jiang Fan was stunned. The demon race's territories were largely covered in snow and ice. Could this snow and ice actually originate from the ice abyss before them? Reflecting deeply, the snow and ice within the demon race indeed seemed peculiar. To the south, the lands of the human clan were lush and spring-like. If the northern coldness of the demon race were merely a result of geographical factors, why then would the far northernmost lands of the demon race be a warm, grassy plain? This continent, north and south, were temperate, but only the central section was snowbound. This couldn't possibly be explained through mere geography. Perhaps Xin'er was right. The source of the snow and ice could lie within the ice abyss before them. Just as this thought settled, the skies suddenly darkened. A black-cloaked hell beast made its swift arrival at the scene. "Hiss, which divinity transformation cultivator's treasure has fallen to this place?" It was evident the hell beast had also detected the anomaly. Immediately, its gaze shifted to Jiang Fan and Xin'er. "You two run quite well, don't you? What's the matter this time? Not planning to keep running?" Jiang Fan gritted his teeth. He pulled Xin'er and leapt directly into the ice abyss below, turning back to snarl. "Catch me if you've got the guts. Let's see if your life's expendable." The hell beast's face turned grim. Its gaze shifted toward the abyss's depth, showing visible hesitation. The icy bursts emanating from below provoked a certain kind of dread. Risking everything for a couple of prey wasn't worth it. However, the hunt for Jiang Fan had deeper motives. The hell beast needed Jiang Fan's soul to disguise itself as him, tricking his spiritual pet into surrendering the merit divine pearl. Otherwise, what reason would compel it to travel so far on a relentless chase? Watching Jiang Fan slip into the icy abyss. Though it feared the periodically exploding cold, it had no choice but to pursue. If it could strike before danger emerged, devour Jiang Fan's soul, and depart, the greater good would be salvaged. But as it picked up awareness of the hell beast's approach, Jiang Fan's anxiety surged. This hell beast truly didn't value its own life? Thud, suddenly, a terror-inducing icy wind swept across. Jiang Fan immediately felt his soul chill, as if on the verge of freezing. Worst of all, the icy wind was shapeless, impossible to guard against. Xin'er, too, felt a dire warning flash through her mind as she hastily exclaimed, "Hold on to me tight! Hold on." Jiang Fan didn't hesitate for a second. He clung to her directly, face first. Xin'er's petite frame only reached Jiang Fan's shoulders. In this embrace, her entire body was buried against his chest. Whoosh, a layer of violet flame surged out from within Xin'er, encircling both herself and Jiang Fan in a protective barrier a foot wide. The icy wind struck. and managed to extinguish a wisp of violet flame. The sight made Jiang Fan's heart pound in shock. He had experienced violet flame's potent strength firsthand. The dragon-binding chain, capable of restraining nascent soul realm cultivators, had been melted into liquid iron by violet flame. Yet now the icy wind had extinguished a flicker of it. The power of the icy wind exceeded expectations. "Are you trying to suffocate me?" A muffled voice rose from within his embrace. Looking down, he saw Xin'er glaring up at him angrily with a reddened face. "Then how am I supposed to hold you?" Jiang Fan asked. "From the back." "Oh." Jiang Fan moved behind her and wrapped his arms around her waist from behind, closely pressing himself against her. Xin'er's body stiffened momentarily. She quickly shook off his grip. Turning around, she glared at him. Jiang Fan looked properly confused. "Front is a problem, back is a problem too. You call the shots, I'll follow." Xin'er ground her teeth, then bent down and scooped Jiang Fan into a princess carry. "How's this?" Xin'er asked. Jiang Fan felt awkward but coughed lightly, saying, "Except for slightly bruising my masculine pride, I suppose there's nothing too bad about it." Xin'er's cheeks flushed slightly. She huffed, "Stay like this and don't squirm." With Jiang Fan in her arms, carrying him in a princess hold, Xin'er sank downward. The hell beast chasing them from behind was suddenly struck by a burst of icy wind. It quickly halted. A layer of black flowing light surged around it. This was its wild beast domain. The icy wind struck the flowing light, slowly losing momentum and solidifying. As a result, its true form became visible. It was, shockingly, a flat, blade-like creature with an ice crystal-colored body. Its spiked mouth resembled a steel needle, capable of piercing living flesh with ease. The blade-like body could swiftly slice through flesh to burrow into its prey. The extreme cold within its abdomen could then release into its prey's body, instantly freezing the victim from inside out. Nightmare ice worm. How could such creatures possibly exist here? Weren't these divine worms cultivated by the ice and fire demon lord 1,000 years ago? They were supposed to have gone extinct centuries ago. Whoosh whoosh, several more nightmare ice worms began attacking. The hell beast hesitated. If the nightmare ice worms were small in number, it could handle it. But if they were numerous, even its wild beast domain might not be able to hold against them. Still watching Jiang Fan sink deeper into the darkness below, it clenched its teeth and pursued. Xin'er looked equally grave. The deeper they descended, the more frequent and eerie the icy winds became. Moreover, they seemed to exhibit spiritual wisdom, concentrating their attacks repeatedly on specific areas, attempting to break through the surrounding violet flames. Luckily, her violet flames were abundant, consistently repairing the breaches. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. After descending for an unknown length, a faint light entered their view. It was several luminous pearls, seemingly dropped intentionally, illuminating the abyss's depths. Under the weak glow, an enormous palace came into faint focus. Jiang Fan recognized its origins with just one glance. The palace of the ice and fire demon lord. Its design was almost identical to the one at the lakebed, except the lakebed's palace was called the Lee Fire Heavenly Palace, whereas this one was named Xuanbing Hell. These words are in the demon race language. Xin'er, worried that Jiang Fan wouldn't understand, translated, "It's called Xuanbing Hell. Judging by the name, it hardly seems like a good place." She felt a little uneasy. Luminous pearls were scattered across the ground, indicating someone had been here before. Yet the hall was devoid of any sound. Either that person was hiding, or they were already dead. Regardless of the reason, neither was encouraging. Meanwhile, the aura of the hell beast overhead continued to draw closer. "Just now, I told you to use the dustless talisman, but you didn't listen. Now you'll follow me in, like it or not. If you die inside, don't go blaming me." Feeling the increasingly frenzied assault of icy winds around them, she couldn't be sure her purple flame would be enough to shield both of them. Entering this obviously malevolent hall was an even graver uncertainty. Jiang Fan, however, looked bemused. His gaze, subtle yet strange, fell briefly to his chest. He didn't know when it began, but that chicken feather had grown hot, and now it felt slightly scorching. "What's this damned feather stirring up now?" As if responding to his grumbling, the feather suddenly grew hotter. Hiss. Jiang Fan winced and muttered, You actually understand me?" If last time he couldn't be entirely certain of its consciousness when the feather etched its markings on him, this time solidified it. The feather was alive, damn it. What had he gone and gotten himself tangled up with? Xin'er turned her head, startled. "Who are you talking to?" Jiang Fan's expression shifted between dark and conflicted as he said, Some ghostly thing, I don't even know. The feather grew dissatisfied again, becoming increasingly scorching. Jiang Fan sucked in a sharp breath. All right, I won't badmouth you. Only then did the feather cool slightly, though it still burned faintly hot. It seemed to be reacting to something in its surroundings. Xin'er shot him a dubious look. Her thoughts stirred. Could this guy also carry a remnant soul of some elder-like figure similar to my hairpin? Whoosh, the wind overhead howled. The silhouette of the hell beast was now visible. Xin'er dared not delay any longer, clutching Jiang Fan tightly as she dashed into the hall. The doorway of the grand hall was wide open. It indicated someone had been here before, but they had seemingly vanished. The interior was roughly the same size as the Li Fire Heavenly Palace. The far end was visible at a glance. The difference was, while the Li Fire Heavenly Palace had a 1,000-year clam shell at its center, birthing the sky-burning clam pearl, the center of Xuanbing Hell featured an icy pool. A crystalline ancient sword was planted in the pool. The sword body was adorned with an intricate ice dragon pattern. The remnant soul within Xin'er's hairpin gasped softly, a top-grade spiritual artifact. The material exudes chilling frost and bears the etchings of an ice dragon. Isn't this the Tingsu sword, one of the heavenly slaying 9 swords crafted by the Baixuan sword master? How could it end up here? Xin'er was subtly astonished. It was the first time she'd heard her master so startled. Even upon seeing the fractured moon realm, her master had merely let out mild amazement. Never before had they expressed such shock. Xin'er, you've stumbled upon an incredible opportunity. Baixuan sword master once wielded the heavenly slaying 9 swords, standing unrivaled beneath saintly power. Later, they fell in the ancient wars. The 9 swords they bore, some shattered, others vanished. Who'd have thought a pristine Tingsu sword would be concealed here? Xin'er's eyes sparkled. The Baixuan sword master and the heavenly slaying 9 swords, just hearing their names evoked the unparalleled splendor of their era, brimming with powerful figures. Wouldn't that mean I'm? Xin'er was just beginning to covet the sword when she noticed Jiang Fan staring intently at the weapon. He murmured a warning, Master, do not touch that sword. Those who came before us didn't take it, that's telling. Hide and let the hell beast test the waters first. Xin'er immediately sobered, indeed. She had focused solely on the extraordinary characteristics of the sword, forgetting its potential risks. Your caution never ceases to amaze, Xin'er teased him lightly, but silently she thought to herself. This guy is a rogue through and through, but his prudence is unshakable. From now on, I must think twice before acting. Can't afford to be outdone by this fellow. These thoughts did not escape the remnant soul within the hairpin. It was quietly pleased. At last, she was starting to recognize Jiang Fan's merits. Xin'er pressed herself against the hall's rear wall. She withdrew a mid-grade dustless talisman, which she promptly activated and affixed onto Jiang Fan. Then she swallowed a Wangxiang bead. A faint green glow began to radiate from her body, enveloping her. Soon after, the glow shifted, camouflaging seamlessly with the hall's walls. From a distance, it was impossible to spot anyone present. Absent physical contact, there was no telling they were there at all. Jiang Fan marveled silently. The Purple Flame Master once used this bead to disguise themselves as Liu Qingxian, fooling Jiang Fan so thoroughly that he couldn't discern the deception through appearance alone. Only through physical contact had he unveiled the truth. Now he finally understood. The bead could not only transform someone into another person, but also into inanimate objects. Still, why wasn't it used earlier? Had it been, they wouldn't need to hide in the icy abyss, would they? Soon, Jiang Fan understood. Once disguised as a dead object, one couldn't make any movements. Doing so would immediately undo the concealment. This method was problematic. It could easily be exposed by the hell beast. Unless absolutely desperate, she wouldn't resort to using it. At this point, they were at the end of their rope. They had no choice but to try. Thud, a loud, heavy sound came from outside the hall. The hell beast had arrived. Cautiously, it stepped into the hall. Sweeping its gaze left and right, its eyes immediately fell upon the icy pool. Its pupils shrank sharply, the Baixuan sword master's blade. And preserved in such pristine condition? Excited, it rushed forward. Then abruptly halted, narrowing its ancient gaze to scrutinize its surroundings, letting out a sinister laugh. You little human clansmen. This sword must harbor some grave hazard, doesn't it? Otherwise, why wouldn't you take it yourselves? You're hoping I retrieve it, agitating whatever danger lies within? True to the years it had amassed, the hell beast immediately saw through their trick. Jiang Fan scoffed internally. So what if you figured it out? As long as you entered, it's enough? He drew his quasi-spiritual artifact bow and loosed an arrow at the Tinxu sword. Brilliant silver light instantly pierced the air, striking the sword. The hell beast pinpointed them based on the trajectory of the shot. It grinned coldly. "Found you both!" Laughing sinisterly, it charged toward them. However, as the Tinxu sword shifted, the icy pool beneath it suddenly erupted with unforeseeable change. From what appeared to be a water-filled hollow, countless writhing creatures emerged. They were all sharp-mouthed, flat-bodied nightmare ice worms. As if jolted awake, they surged angrily toward the hell beast. The hell beast's face turned ashen. A handful of bugs might still be manageable. But faced with such an immense swarm, how could it possibly cope? Without hesitation, it abandoned Jiang Fan, roaring, "Damnable human clan! You tricked me!" and then bolted out of the hall. The tide of nightmare ice worms engulfed the entire space. There was nowhere left to hide. Xin'er was terror-stricken, her heart nearly leaping out of her chest. Such overwhelming numbers, her meager purple flame would be snuffed out instantly. She instinctively prepared to grab Jiang Fan and flee. The hell beast was fearsome, but these nightmare ice worms were even worse. But soon, she made an incredible discovery. The swarm of bugs swarming toward them suddenly diverted course, as if encountering something frightful, skirting away from them completely. The hall full of nightmare ice worms poured outside, all chasing after the hell beast. None of them paid any attention to Jiang Fan and Xin'er. What's going on here?" Xin'er asked, stunned. "Master, was this your doing?" In her estimation, only her master could make these bugs retreat in fear. But surprisingly, the remnant soul within the hairpin replied in a baffled tone, "These nightmare ice worms would never fear me. It seems they're afraid of this boy." Xin'er exclaimed in surprise, "Master, are you talking about this little rascal? Could it be that he has some significant background?" The remnant soul of the hairpin replied, "I don't know, but he definitely has something that makes the bugs fear him." At this moment, Jiang Fan. He was also curiously looking at the faint red and yellow light on his chest. He muttered to himself, "You're somewhat useful after all. Even those powerful bugs are afraid of you." The chicken feather shone even brighter. It seemed to be enjoying itself. Jiang Fan felt a burst of excitement in his heart. This chicken feather is no ordinary object. Could it possibly have a restraining effect on all the world's snakes, bugs, and ants? "Jiang Fan, is the crisis over now?" Xin'er spat out the Wangxiang bead, revealing her mindset. She suddenly asked. Jiang Fan peeled off the dustless talisman, and in just a while, quite a bit of its effectiveness had already dissipated. Seeing this, his heart ached. Upon hearing, he instinctively nodded. "It should be, right?" As soon as he finished speaking, he was tossed aside by Xin'er and even kicked with disdain. "Then get lost." After saying that, she hurried towards the Tinxu sword, her eyes filled with delight. Since the nightmare ice worm had been lured away by the hell beast, she would not hold back on claiming this sword. But Jiang Fan got up unhurriedly, patted the ice chips off his bottom, and said, "Still thinking of taking the Tinxu sword? Do you take the master hidden here for so long as someone who eats grass?" Xin'er suddenly snapped out of it. "Right, what happened to the person who came first?" Whoosh, suddenly a figure dashed before her. A tall figure appeared in front of the Tinxu sword. Smiling, he grasped the sword hilt. His features were handsome and full of warmth, projecting both the amicability of a businessman and a deeply hidden cruelty and wisdom. "Building owner?" Xin'er was dumbfounded. "Is it you here?" She finally understood why the building owner didn't search for that space storage device himself. Instead, he had urged her to go. It turns out the building owner was here, waiting for a chance to seize the Tinxu sword. And thanks to their and the hell beast's arrival, he actually succeeded. Thinking of this, Xin'er stomped her feet in frustration. "You saw me in danger and didn't show up. Yet as soon as there's a benefit, you rush out to grab it. Aren't you ashamed?" The Jiangshan first-class building owner smiled slightly. "Saving people isn't my duty. Seizing advantages is the essence of a businessman. Isn't it just fine?" Xin'er was so angry that her fists clenched tight, but after thinking for a moment, Jiang Fan said, "Purple Flame Senior, come over here. Keep a distance from that sword for now." Xin'er paused, but still followed Jiang Fan's advice and stepped back. This little rascal, though roguish, was otherwise quite reliable. The Jiangshan first-class building owner looked over, showing a surprised expression. "The fact that the two of you know each other was honestly unexpected. But what's up with this sword?" He decisively put down the sword and stepped back a few paces. Before taking the sword, he had checked it to ensure there was no danger before touching it. Jiang Fan said, "In the Leaf Fire Heavenly Palace there once emerged a sky-burning clam pearl. Extremely dangerous. Currently the place is named Xuanbing Hell, which itself sounds risky. Yet this sword seems so tame." Pausing briefly, Jiang Fan added, "Of course, this is just my speculation. Perhaps the nightmare ice worm was the danger, and that danger has passed." The building owner furrowed his brow. "Is that so?" Suddenly, the building owner noticed something unusual. The dragon pattern on the sword body actually moved. Although it was very subtle, he still caught it. His expression changed instantly, shouting, "Quickly leave the hall!" Crack, however, it was too late. The dragon pattern had come to life. It burst out of the Tingshu sword, transforming into a dragon shadow, spewing towards everyone. A terrifying cold breath was exhaled. The chill was immensely frightening. Even space was frozen solid. Half of the hall was instantly frozen into ice. The building owner turned pale with fright and quickly dashed outward. Xin'er was also scared out of her wits, hurriedly running out. But the freezing speed was too fast, way too fast. Even the Jiangshan first-class building owner couldn't escape. He was still in midair and got frozen in place. Xin'er remained frozen in a running posture, unable to move. Only Jiang Fan. Upon discovering the dragon's pattern was moving, he immediately unleashed the power of thunder to flash out of the hall. But when he glanced back, Xin'er and the pavilion master were both frozen, watching the cold air behind them about to completely solidify them, forever sealing them within the hall. He gritted his teeth, decisively activated Cloud Shadow, instantly moved in front of the two. Without thinking, he carried the frozen blocks they had become and ran. However, the cold air was too terrifying. When Jiang Fan touched them, he too was frozen together with them. Fortunately, his thunder path naturally had a very high temperature. It wasn't enough to freeze him completely. Taking advantage of the moment before the hall was completely sealed, he decisively activated Cloud Shadow to escape the hall. Roar, the dragon's pattern let out a roar. It actually chased out of the hall, spitting cold air that could freeze all things towards Jiang Fan. Damn! These days, what's with the chickens and dragons? Why is each one more vengeful than the last? He was already running away, and it still wouldn't let go. At this moment, a burning sensation came from his chest. The chicken feather detached from Jiang Fan, transforming into a beautiful green-eyed, majestic rooster. It spread its wings wide, craning its neck, and actually flew towards the ice dragon that had chased out. Jiang Fan was shocked and said, "Come back. That's a dragon, not a worm, not in your field of expertise." But the rooster clucked fiercely as it charged to attack. Above, arcs of immense power erupted. How could Jiang Fan dare to linger? Utilizing his limited power of thunder, he carried the two ice sculptures and soared into the sky. On the way, he encountered many nightmare ice worms, but they seemed eager to return and help the ice dragon in battle, having no time for Jiang Fan. Thus, he thrillingly returned to the surface. Yet the surface was not safe either. In the distance, the roars of hell beasts erupted, along with world-destructive waves. Jiang Fan felt a surge of happiness in his heart. The pavilion master and the Canghai demon emperor had arrived. He didn't dare rush up to the surface, just hid in this ice valley. Looking at the frozen ice people in front of him, Jiang Fan immediately used spiritual power to dispel the ice on their bodies. He didn't know if they were still alive. The owner of Jiangshan first-class building, if he died, he died. But Purple Flame Master was hurt because of him. If she died, his guilt would be immense. Fortunately, as the cold dissipated from the two, their breath returned. If it had been any later, they would have perished as ice sculptures without doubt. The building master soon awakened. He suddenly sat up, checking his body, and his face immediately darkened. Then he checked Xin'er and darkened further. A huge loss. Didn't get the Tingshu sword, and both our nascent souls were damaged. I'm okay, my nascent soul is strong. If I hurry back to heal, I can recover in at most half a year. But Vice Building Master Gu is in trouble. Jiang Fan felt a thud in his heart. He said, "What's wrong with Purple Flame Master?" The building master looked at Jiang Fan and said in a deep voice, "Her nascent soul is destroyed. Only has the cultivation of core formation left." What? Jiang Fan's face sank and he said, "Is there any way to remedy it?" Purple Flame Master lost her nascent soul realm because of him. That sin was immense. The building master gave Jiang Fan an odd look. "Are you that close with her? You care so much about her?" Jiang Fan earnestly said. "To be honest, she came here because of me. If anything happened to her, I wouldn't be at peace." The building master realized, "I see." Then he slightly shook his head. "Then you might be uneasy for the rest of your life." Jiang Fan's heart sank to the bottom. Nascent soul injury, is it unsolvable like this? He didn't even know how he would explain to Xin'er when she woke up. There is a solution, but it's too difficult for you. And although I can do it, I'm too occupied with my own matters now, the building master suddenly said. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. Please, Xin'er, guide me. The building master sighed slightly. If you don't have strong connections in the East Sea Demon clan, what I tell you will be useless. East Sea Demon clan? Jiang Fan showed an odd expression, muttering, I've seen the East Sea Demon Emperor's body. Is that connection strong enough? The building master raised his head, eyes wide open, staring intently at Jiang Fan. Owner finally calmed down. He suspiciously looked at Jiang Fan. Haven't heard about the East Sea Demon Emperor keeping concubines. Jiang Fan cleared his throat and said, Saw it by accident. The building owner became even more curious. She didn't kill you? The majesty of the Demon Emperor is not to be taken lightly. Jiang Fan said, She peeked at me too. Let's call it even. The building owner's previously relaxed eyes widened again. This information was quite deep. You always manage to surprise me. The building owner exhaled lightly and said, All right, since you know the East Sea Demon Emperor, there's a lead to follow. There is a mother origin cauldron in the East Sea. The cauldron contains mysterious powers that can heal the hardest injuries in the world. Nascent soul injury is nothing to the mother origin cauldron. If Vice Building Master Gu is lucky enough to enter the cauldron, recovery of the nascent soul is not difficult. Mother origin cauldron. There certainly are a lot of cauldrons in this world. In his hand, he has the mountain river tripod, and there's a 9-dragon demon tripod in the cave at the bottom of Snow Mountain. Now the East Sea Demon clan has a mother origin cauldron. Is it difficult to borrow this cauldron? Jiang Fan asked again. The building owner nodded slightly. Very difficult. Firstly, this cauldron is used to suppress the sea spring. Its healing ability is just a secondary effect. The Sea Demon clan doesn't like people using it often, to avoid any sea spring leakage. Secondly, Taikang State and the Four Seas all know the cauldron can heal. Many strong individuals often want to borrow it. The queue is long, and it's not certain your turn will come. Jiang Fan frowned. So it seems borrowing the mother origin cauldron is indeed not easy. His mention of the misunderstanding with the East Sea Demon Emperor was just a joke. How could the other party look at Jiang Fan differently because of this? In fact, to avoid suspicion, she might hide from Jiang Fan as soon as possible. But since there's hope, it's worth trying. It might be possible to pay some price too. Forget it, don't worry about her for now. Once I recover, I'll personally take her to the East Sea. The building owner shook his head slightly. Jiang Fan pondered. He didn't know what a nascent soul injury was, but most injuries in the world get worse the longer they are delayed. By the time the building owner recovers, who knows how damaged Purple Flame Master's nascent soul will be. How about this? I'll take her to the East Sea now to try our luck. If we can borrow the mother origin cauldron, that would be best. If not, we can wait for the building owner to take action. The building owner nodded gently. Listening to the increasingly fierce battle outside, he showed a worried expression. If he's discovered in his current state of serious injury, that wouldn't be good. He could easily end up like the injured Green Crane Master, being coveted by others. Kid, I'm leaving. Vice Building Master Gu is entrusted to you for now. The building owner stood up and looked at Jiang Fan, saying, This time it's thanks to your help. I owe you one. Is there anything you want? I can give it to you to repay the debt. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. Without thinking, he said, Yes. Jade paper heavenly book. With another one, he could decipher the inscriptions on it to break through to primordial spirit, meaning his soul would first reach the nascent soul realm. The building owner's figure wobbled, and his mouth twitched slightly. You sure know how to choose. Many 7-quartet nascent souls that have reached the peak are searching everywhere for the Jade paper heavenly book. It's even rumored that a certain divinity transformation realm existence is also inquiring about the whereabouts of the Jade paper heavenly book. Jiang Fan was moved inwardly. If that's the case, Xianxia is quite able to keep things under wraps. This extremely valuable treasure was hidden without a trace, but it all worked out in his favor. All right, you saved my life, I will do my utmost to get you a piece. But let me state in advance, I can't guarantee the degree of completeness. When the Jade paper heavenly book shattered back then, there weren't many complete pieces left. Jiang Fan was overjoyed and immediately cupped his hands. Building owner Xin'er, just handle it as you see fit. Finding even one is as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Who has room to be picky? The building owner nodded. Then I'll be off. Don't say I've been here. Immediately, he took out a mid-grade dustless talisman, pasted it on himself, and disappeared without a trace. Jiang Fan looked on enviously. As expected of the building owner, he can casually pull out a mid-grade dustless talisman. Cock-a-doodle-doo, from the bottom of the abyss, 2 chicken calls came. A beautiful rooster flapped its wings and flew back. It was the chicken feather that went off to fight. "You're okay?" Jiang Fan was greatly surprised. He thought this guy would end up dead in the dragon's hands. The rooster strutted over to Jiang Fan and spat an icy beam in front of him. Jiang Fan's mouth twitched. "I don't eat bugs, thanks." But when Jiang Fan looked closely, he was startled. It was actually a small sword as long as an index finger. The sword body was entwined with ice dragon patterns. If it's not the Tingshu sword, then what is it? It just shrunk down countless times in size. "Is this the Tingshu sword?" Jiang Fan tried to pick it up. The ice dragon on it glared at him coldly, emitting a frigid aura that Jiang Fan couldn't approach. The rooster shook its head, letting out a mocking cluck, cluck, cluck sound. Then it transformed into a chicken feather pattern and attached itself to his chest. Jiang Fan's face darkened. He was belittled by a chicken. But can you blame him? The sacred sword that almost tripped up the Jiangshan first-class building owner. Isn't it normal that he can't handle it? Looking at the fierce ice dragon eyeing him, Jiang Fan snorted, "I'll deal with you sooner or later." He took out a jade box and put the small sword inside. Then he turned his attention to Xin'er. Staring at her Peking opera mask, he couldn't help but be curious about her appearance. "She seems a bit younger than me, yet she has achieved nascent soul. Is it due to her background or some special fortune?" He carefully grasped the mask. Preparing to take it off, the pair of eyes exposed suddenly opened, and she quickly slapped his hand away. "What are you trying to do to me again, scoundrel?" Jiang Fan smiled awkwardly. "I have bad news and good news. Which do you want to hear first?" Xin'er sat up and finally realized she was feeling chilly all over. She hugged her arms and looked around. "The good news I already know. I've managed to save my life." "Tell me the bad news." Jiang Fan rubbed his nose. "Your nascent soul is frost-damaged. Your realm has fallen." Xin'er immediately checked internally. Her eyes quickly went hazy. Easy to imagine how upset her face was under the mask. With guilt in his heart, Jiang Fan said, "The building owner pointed out a clear path, saying there's hope in the East Sea. I'll take you to the East Sea right away." Only then did Xin'er's pupils regain focus, and she showed a joyful expression. But soon she became puzzled. "You're taking me. Why are you being so good to me?" Informing her of the lurking hell beast risk at his own peril, even giving her the life-saving mid-grade dustless talisman. Now he's taking her to the East Sea for healing. Could it be that he likes her? Thinking of this, Xin'er felt a bit flustered, yet slightly happy. Turns out she's quite charming. Jiang Fan couldn't bring himself to explain. He cleared his throat. "Don't ask so many questions, just come with me." Xin'er was hesitating. Boom, a mountain-shattering impact wave radiated over, almost piercing through the gorge. The roars of the hell beast echoed from above. "Heavenly Mechanism, Pavilion Master, 3 Sea Demon Emperors. We will remember this." Beast had been forced back to its original form. Terrifying wounds covered its body, with streams of black blood flowing down. So much so that black rain began to fall from the sky. The Heavenly Mechanism, Pavilion Master, and the 3 Sea Demon Emperors were not faring any better. The Pavilion Master's robes were burnt and torn, his hair disheveled, his breath unusually unsteady. The East Sea Demon Emperor had a long scratch almost penetrating from front to back. Any longer, and she would have been split in two. The South Sea Demon Emperor and that unfamiliar Sea Demon Emperor were in slightly better condition, but they were also covered in wounds. "Damn it, the Sky Demon Emperor hasn't arrived yet," the West Sea Demon Emperor said angrily. The Pavilion Master also had a grim expression. He thought the Sky Demon Emperor had arrived long ago. But upon witnessing the might of the Hell Beast, he feared getting injured or even dying, so he dared not come forth. This self-serving creature. Previously, when massacres occurred within the demon race territory, he was anxious, repeatedly urging the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion and Sea Demon clan to act. Now, with the Hell Beast at the human clan's doorstep, he washes his hands of it. The East Sea Demon Emperor gritted her teeth and said, "Let's not talk about him." Fortunately, this Hell Beast somehow provoked a swarm of powerful worms, wounding it severely. Otherwise, just the 4 of us today would have been doomed. The dread of the Hell Beast far exceeded their expectations. Many attacks failed to hurt it. It's unimaginable. It was sealed for at least 60 years and was heavily injured by the ice worm swarm. How terrifying would it have been at its peak? "All of you, once I heal, I will devour you all," the hell beast roared. It regretted pursuing that worm. This led to the attraction of the nightmare ice worm swarm. Otherwise, dealing with these few in front wouldn't have been this passive. The pavilion master's eyes turned cold. If the hell beast escaped, they would be facing a nightmare. He grabbed an ancient bamboo sword, shouting, "Everyone, we can't let it escape. At least not let it escape so easily. We must ensure it won't recover for a long time." The three sea demon emperors felt a chill in their hearts. Immediately they lunged forward, unleashing powerful water series' innate divine abilities. The hell beast fought and retreated skillfully, sneering, "You think you can stop me from leaving? Just wait for me. Wait for my revenge," just as it was speaking harshly. A murmur came from the ground beneath it. "Too much talking? Get down," before it could react. An unimaginable force suddenly enveloped it, dragging it fiercely from the sky and smashing it to the ground. The pavilion master and others were slightly taken aback. Then their eyes gleamed brightly, seizing the chance to unleash their strongest attack. "Ah!" A gigantic front leg soared into the sky. Following closely, a small half of its head was also flung away. "Little People Clan, it's you!" The severely injured hell beast finally realized who acted. Its blood moon-like eyes glared at the crack with boundless hatred. Jiang Fan felt a chill in his heart and quickly said, "Elder, it's not me. You've misunderstood. How could I possess such skills?" The hell beast's anger surged. "That voice just now was definitely you." It extended a giant claw, striking toward Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan's eyelid twitched. He decisively grabbed Xin'er, using the last of his power of thunder and lightning to execute Cloud Shadow. He successfully dodged behind the pavilion master and others just before the claw struck. Once safe, his expression changed and he righteously shouted, "Fiend! Monsters like you should be destroyed by everyone." The hell beast was furious, jumping in rage. "Oh, crying elder when in danger. Safe now, and it's all about calling me a fiend?" The East Sea Demon Emperor's eye twitched as she glanced at the pavilion master. The pavilion master's mouth twitched, saying, "He's new to the heavenly mechanism pavilion, just joined," implying he wasn't taught by the heavenly mechanism pavilion. The South Sea Demon Emperor and the West Sea Demon Emperor also staggered slightly. Though their expressions varied, their hands didn't pause a bit, taking advantage of the hell beast's ailment to strike it down. The hell beast was beaten until its skin tore, continually roaring. Suddenly it laughed in anger. "Good, good, good. Since you wish for misery, I shall grant it to you." It suddenly opened its mouth, spitting out a black orb the size of a human head. Their attacks, upon reaching the black orb, vanished without a trace like mud into the sea. The pavilion master's face changed slightly, looking at the black orb in surprise. "What is this thing? It can absorb nascent soul attacks." The hell beast said chillingly, "Aren't you curious about how the ancient giants descended between heaven and earth? I will answer you now. It was we, the hell beasts, who guided them. We hell beasts are the guiding envoy for the ancient giants." Boom. Everyone felt a rumble in their minds. In human history records, the hell beast was only described as appearing before the ancient giants emerged. After the ancient giants appeared, they all mysteriously vanished without a trace. The exact relationship between the hell beast and the ancient giants was mere speculation. Now they got the truth from a hell beast's mouth. The hell beast slapped the black orb. "Originally, I intended to place this guiding sphere in a prosperous holy land like Taikang State. But since you court death, I will grant it to you. Let this island be the first resting place for the ancient giants. You all will die. You'll all die." Snap, it smashed the black orb. A black beam shot skyward, connecting to an unknown height in the mysterious heavens. The beam did not disappear. It just continued to exist there, like a rope connecting the unknown place and this island. Boom, boom, everyone's hearts pounded violently. Suddenly they understood where the ancient giants came from the sky crawling down along the black beam. "Ha ha ha! When the ancient giants descend, I will personally watch as you are all devoured by them." The hell beast laughed while retreating. Before leaving, it gave Jiang Fan a fierce look. "Little People Clan, I will personally take your life then. Your spiritual pet stole my treasure. You set me up to be chased by the nightmare ice worm, and ambushed me, causing me to fall from the sky and get badly injured. I will settle these scores with you one by one." After speaking, it transformed into a streak of black light and rushed into the distance. But no one wanted to pay attention to it anymore. Everyone solemnly stared at the connecting sky-black pillar. The pavilion master attempted to launch an attack, but again it vanished like mud into the sea. The 3 sea demon emperors exerted their full strength in turn. The black pillar still stood motionless. The pavilion master looked gravely serious. We must quickly head to Taikang State and notify the various divine sects to solve this beam together. Otherwise, once the ancient giants descend, it will be world-ending. The 4 exchanged glances. The South Sea Demon Emperor, with her long legs and solemn face, said, "I have to go. The Hell Beast went north. East Sea and West Sea need to guard against its return, as should your continent." They agreed on a plan. Then each began to heal and recuperate on the spot. Jiang Fan intently stared at the black pillar, unsure if it was an illusion. He seemed to feel the void ancient tree within him tremble slightly. He attempted to approach the black pillar. To his surprise, the black pillar shifted slightly, as if it feared him. Jiang Fan was stunned. The black light pillar is afraid of the void ancient tree? He turned his head to look at the heavenly mechanism pavilion master. He found that he and the 3 demon emperors were concentrating on healing, not noticing this anomaly. He was just about to tell them his discovery. Then he had a second thought and stopped himself in time. The ancient giant is of great importance, and being able to move the black light pillar sounds quite sensational. Before having any self-preservation ability, it's better not to expose it easily. It's better to wait until the strong warriors of Taikang State arrive before saying anything. If they can't solve the black light pillar, it's not too late for him to try. "Hey, Jiang Fan." Xin'er walked over slowly, her little hands behind her back. "I also have some good news and some bad news to tell you. Which one would you like to hear first?" Jiang Fan had a bad premonition. He raised his hand to stop her. "Wait a moment." He quickly walked behind the heavenly mechanism pavilion master and then said, "Okay, go ahead and tell me." Xin'er ground her silver teeth. "This dog, he's a real dog." With a cold little face, she immediately said, "The bad news is I know the truth. It turns out the Hell Beast was chasing you and you wanted to pin it on me. I can't believe I fell for your nonsense and was even moved by you. You shameless scoundrel." She was so angry, her chest fluctuating, almost going crazy. The Hell Beast, before leaving just now, said that Jiang Fan's spirit beast had stolen something from it. Combining that with Jiang Fan's unusual behavior of appearing in front of her, saying she was targeted by the Hell Beast. The truth was self-evident. The Hell Beast was actually after Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan awkwardly chuckled, "And the good news?" "You've forgiven me." Xin'er clenched her fists. "The good news is, I'll forgive you this once. I initially planned to tear you into 108 pieces. Now tearing you into 107 pieces will do." As she spoke, she swung her fists and came pounding over. Jiang Fan quickly squatted behind the heavenly mechanism pavilion master and said, "Pavilion master, look quickly. There's murder happening." The heavenly mechanism pavilion master's forehead veins twitched. This guy, however, could he really just watch his disciple get beaten? Vice Pavilion Master Gu. Calm down, I see you seem to be quite seriously injured. Be careful not to aggravate your injuries." He immediately noticed something wrong within Xin'er's body. Xin'er stopped but was trembling with rage. "Master, do you know how infuriating this guy is? These injuries of mine are all tied to him." The heavenly mechanism pavilion master already picked up on it from their words. It was a bit of a headache pulling Jiang Fan out and asking, "Do you have any plans?" Jiang Fan said, "I'm willing to take responsibility for her." That statement, the 3 sea demon emperors looked over as one. Xin'er's beautiful eyes widened, stomping her foot in embarrassment. "What nonsense are you spouting?" Jiang Fan said. "I mean her injuries." The heavenly mechanism pavilion master pondered for a moment, his peripheral vision catching the East Sea Demon Emperor. Of course, he knew that a nascent soul injury was no easy task to heal. After thinking it over, he decided to put aside his pride and help Jiang Fan once. "Yizhu Demon Emperor, we were all fortunate for Jiang Fan's intervention, which allowed us to severely wound the Hell Beast, leaving it no chance to return and cause trouble. I wonder, could we give him a reward?" The implication was to borrow the Mother Origin Cauldron for use. The East Sea Demon Emperor naturally knew the significant role Jiang Fan played just now. He had indeed solved a dire threat for them. Borrowing the Mother Origin Cauldron was entirely possible. What was even more commendable was that Jiang Fan did not act for himself, but to help others. This left her without a reason to refuse. Just as she was about to speak, the South Sea Demon Emperor chimed in. "Pavilion Master, a reward can be given. We of the South Sea Demon Clan are not stingy. However, before that, you need to thoroughly reprimand this boy." She was still brooding over how Jiang Fan had seen her clearly. He even stared without blinking. Every time she thinks about it, it makes her angry. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master's face darkened slightly and said, Jiang Fan, did you offend the South Sea Demon Emperor? Jiang Fan was speechless. You peeked at me first, how come you're the one complaining? Fine. Then let's talk about it, maybe it's not me who's embarrassed. He spoke seriously. Pavilion Master, it's like this. I was cultivating in the thunder pool, and suddenly 2 demon emperors fell from the sky into the pool. A strand of clear water suddenly blocked Jiang Fan's mouth. The East Sea Demon Emperor smiled slightly. Jiang Fan's words are really concise. He summed it all up in one sentence. Jiang Fan shook his head. I haven't finished saying. The East Sea Demon Emperor laughed. Fine, let the Mother Origin Cauldron be used by this vice-building master of Jiangshan first-class building. Old Dream Demon Emperor, if you have any rewards for Jiang Fan, hurry and give them. The implication was to quickly shut this guy's mouth. If he really spoke about what happened that day, would they still have any face? The South Sea Demon Emperor was uneasy and regretted provoking Jiang Fan a bit, clearing his throat slightly. No worries, it's all past. Jiang Fan, you performed very well this time. The Emperor appreciates you. I see danger always accompanies you. When you have time, come to my South Sea, and the Emperor will help you pluck a protective night pearl. What is this thing? But since it's bestowed by a demon emperor, it must not be simple. He quickly bowed, like that. Only then did the East Sea Demon Emperor retract the water from Jiang Fan's mouth. The war of reputation defense was won. Your name is Jiang Fan, right? The West Sea Demon Emperor was a bald, middle-aged man, and his appearance was plain and unremarkable, forming a sharp contrast with the 2 beautiful young demon emperors of East Sea and South Sea. Heaven is really too favorable to the females of the vast sea demon race, to the extent that it makes the male sea demon emperor look like an unwanted orphan. I also want to give you some good things, but to be honest, I originally had a box of water source essence. Unfortunately, when it was with my dog's son, some scoundrel took it all. If you have time, come to the West Sea. I'll properly entertain you. How does that sound? Jiang Fan expressed his indignation. Senior West Sea Demon Emperor, there's no need for us to be polite. I and the West Sea Crown Prince are like brothers. I also sympathize with his plight. I curse that bastard who took the water source essence to have a son without an anus. Too immoral. Terribly immoral. The West Sea Demon Emperor was taken aback for a moment, then showed a gratified expression. My useless son has finally found a friend who would go through thick and thin for him. It's really good. Jiang Fan immediately turned to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master. The Pavilion Master teased, even your own people, are you going to extort them? While saying this, he handed over a prepared token. It's the token to go to the Thunder Pool to cultivate. You've cultivated the 10,000 Tribulations Holy Temple's cultivation technique, right? If the 10,000 Tribulations Holy Temple troubles you, give them my name. I'll personally go to explain to them. Jiang Fan was pleased at first, and then his heart warmed. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master truly treats him well. Thinking of the Hell Beast bronze statue the Pavilion Master entrusted him to study, he showed some shame. Pavilion Master, regarding that bronze statue, the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master waved his hand. Don't worry about it. I've researched it for so many years without progress. Handing it to you is also putting you in a tough spot. Jiang Fan felt heavily burdened. If not for being very concerned about the inscriptions on the bronze statue, the Pavilion Master wouldn't have specially entrusted it to Jiang Fan. Having received so much kindness from the Pavilion Master, shouldn't he do something for him? Those inscriptions, no matter what, he has to find a way to decipher them. Additionally, the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master smiled. This time the task was completed by you. 10,000 merits. Congratulations. Jiang Fan's eyes revealed a smile. The progress of that bottle of true spirit blood was completed by 1/10. When you go to the East Sea, make sure to manage your time well and don't miss the opening of the underworld. I'm really looking forward to seeing what surprise you'll bring again. Jiang Fan nodded. Suddenly, he had long had a question regarding the underworld. But looking at the 3 demon emperors around, the words at the tip of his tongue stopped. If you have any questions, just ask directly. I will consider carefully. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master smiled. He was happy to answer questions for such an excellent disciple like Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan hesitated no longer and said, Pavilion Master, I want to know, what is our Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion's purpose in exploring the underworld? He had been curious for a long time. Because, among the rules of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion for the underworld, there was one that defied common sense. And that was, everything obtained from exploration belonged to the explorer. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion seemed to care only about expanding more space. The merit-reward emphasis observed later showed a clue. Developing a few hundred feet of hidden space earned 3,000 meritorious points. Even handing over a spiritual artifact only got a mere 1,000 meritorious points. This seemed quite out of place. Upon hearing this, the three demon emperors' eyes flashed with insight. Apparently, they too had harbored questions about this for a long time. What exactly had the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion been digging for all these years? They seemed to care little about treasures, only focused on expanding larger spaces. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion master thought for a moment, not hiding it from the present three demon emperors nor from Jiang Fan. Very few people have questioned this anymore. Everyone has become accustomed to the rules passed down for hundreds of years. Since I assumed the position of Pavilion Master, only 2 disciples have raised this question. One was Xianxia. The other is you. Jiang Fan nodded. That mythic prodigy skilled in scheming and strategizing. Strangely, Jiang Fan had snatched away her jade-carved phoenix chair. To this day, she has shown no sign of retaliation, or is she laying out plans, preparing for a big move? Shaking his head, he concentrated, focusing intently to continue listening to the Pavilion Master. Our Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion is searching for the ancient saints. Rumble, such shocking words, stunned everyone present, including the 3 demon emperors, like a bolt out of the blue. Searching for what? The ancient saints? The 9 ancient saints who created heaven and earth, the Pavilion Master said. That ancient saint is the hope for solving the predicament of the ancient giants. For 1,000 years, our Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion has been searching. Unfortunately, with the ancient giants about to descend again, we still haven't found any. He glanced at Jiang Fan with a hint of regret in his eyes. Our Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion has walked this path for 1,000 years. In the end, we failed. If talents like you and Xianxia had emerged 500 years earlier in that era of abundant resources, perhaps you could have advanced even farther than our predecessors. Sadly, our Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion is unworthy of the name Heavenly Mechanism. In the end, the Heavenly Mechanism has never been on our side. Jiang Fan looked confused. Pavilion Master, if the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion's manpower is limited, why not open up the underworld? Request the help of the 7 quartet nascent souls in Taikang State, or even the Bodhisattva from White Horse Temple. Surely, they can develop the 10th layer. The Pavilion Master smiled slightly. Glancing at Jiang Fan's fingers, he said, "That broken infinite ring, did you exchange for it?" Just now, when the Hell Beast was suddenly ambushed, he had already realized what it was. Jiang Fan did not hide it and nodded. The Pavilion Master said, "The owner of that ring was once a 7-orifice nascent soul. She perished on the 10th layer." Jiang Fan vaguely understood. It's not that the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion won't let outsiders in. It's that they are unwilling to go in. The Pavilion Master said, "Reaching the nascent soul stage comes with countless hardships. It's extremely difficult to achieve. Who would be willing to risk enormous danger for a mythical legend, for the so-called common good? Throughout history, there have been many travelers, few pioneers. Even fewer willing to bear burdens and advance in the dark." Jiang Fan felt deeply moved. He never expected the original intention behind the establishment of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion was the aftermath of the ancient disaster caused by the ancient giants, a hope left behind by the idealistic human clan for future generations. Yet 1,000 years later, the hope did not ignite into a wildfire as expected, burning away the darkness from the Kankiang. It gradually extinguished instead. Jiang Fan stood in solemn respect and said, "Pavilion Master, please don't lose heart. The ancient giants won't descend overnight. We still have a chance. Disciple Jiang Fan, unworthy as I am, will do everything in my power to fulfill the legacy of our predecessors and pioneer the path ahead." The Pavilion Master smiled slightly. Shedding the somber demeanor, he said, "Good. With just these words from you, it's enough." The 3 Sea Demon Emperors and Xin'er all looked ashamed. They were the ones walking on paths left by their predecessors, unwilling to pioneer ahead. The East Sea Demon Emperor sighed softly and said, "If I didn't have the fate of my clan on my shoulders, I would gladly sacrifice myself to explore the 10th layer." Both the South Sea Demon Emperor and West Sea Demon Emperor sighed as well. Yet the Pavilion Master smiled and said, "Your assistance in driving away the Hell Beasts is already righteous. Our Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion is grateful beyond words. How dare we blame you?" seeing that everyone had almost finished resting. He got up and said, "Everyone, let's part ways here. We'll wait for Taikang State to arrive, and then we'll handle the black light beam together." The three demon emperors nodded one after another. The East Sea Demon Emperor looked at Jiang Fan and Gu Xin'er, saying, "Vice Building Master Gu, you come back to the East Sea with me. As for Jiang Fan, you come along too. We have a washing spirit pool in the East Sea that can help your cultivation reach a higher level." She was moved by Jiang Fan's words, "Fulfill the legacy of our predecessors." For such a junior, she didn't mind giving more opportunities. Jiang Fan was overjoyed and said, "Thank you, Senior Demon Emperor," immediately. She followed the Sea Demon clan on the way to the East Sea. The journey was long. Jiang Fan sat beside the East Sea Demon Emperor. Flipping through a stack of thick books on the languages of all races, he read them one by one. The East Sea Demon Emperor leaned over and glanced softly, slightly surprised. "The language of all races. Is there any use in studying this? Many races have long disappeared in history," Jiang Fan said. "I want to help the pavilion master decipher a language. I want to lend a hand." The East Sea Demon Emperor's crystal eyes sparkled. "What a good child, grateful and knowing to give back," she said. "My eldest daughter loves reading. I'll have her bring some of my demon clan's ancient books for you then." Jiang Fan immediately expressed his gratitude. If the books here don't have it, he would have to rely on other ancient documents. The ancient books of the East Sea Demon clan are undoubtedly precious. Outsiders seldom have a chance to read them. The East Sea Demon Emperor gave a gentle, warm smile, growing increasingly fond of this polite and motivated young man. At this moment, she noticed that Gu Xin'er, sitting on the right side, was also holding a small black notebook. After thinking for a while, she wrote something again. It seemed like she was recording something important. She couldn't help but be surprised. These two children really love learning, one reading books, the other taking notes. Gu Xin'er was currently gazing outside, lost in thought. A gentle breeze flipped open a page of her notebook. The East Sea Demon Emperor looked over, smiling. Jiang Fan's death note. "Ruined my business, died once. Hit me in the underworld, death count +1. Tricked me into being chased by a hell beast, death count +1. Said my chest is small enough to hold with one hand, death count +100. Emperor froze. This little girl's diary is quite profound. It transcends low-level interests and rises to the height of life. Gu Xin'er came to her senses and noticed the handwriting was exposed, quickly closing the little book. She flashed a sweet smile. "Senior Yizhu Demon Emperor, pardon my impropriety. I'm recording the beauty of life." The East Sea Demon Emperor politely returned a smile, awkwardly engaging in conversation with the two. "By the way, Jiang Fan, that hell beast said your spiritual pet took something from it. Where is your spiritual pet?" Jiang Fan put down the book and said, "A kind person is temporarily taking care of it." Thinking carefully, fortunately, the little Killin is in the underworld. Otherwise, it might have been caught by the hell beast this time. The East Sea Demon Emperor asked suspiciously, "Such an important little spirit beast, aren't you afraid it might not be well taken care of by someone else?" Jiang Fan thought for a moment. He said, "It should be fine, right? If that female ghost dares to do anything to the little Killin, then she can forget about the Yin Marrow Talisman, Underworld, 9th layer. Jiang Fan, quickly take your spiritual pet back." Hua Xin, pale with fright, was fleeing desperately. The little Killin was also behind, scampering away on its 4 short legs. The whistling wind made its 2 small ears stick to its head. Its reddish-brown fur was rolling backward like waves. Despite running so desperately, it still held onto a blood-red spirit ginseng without letting go. Behind them, a fierce ghost formed from blood mist was roaring incessantly. "Hua Xin, you let your spiritual pet steal things everywhere. It even stole from this king. Have you eaten bear's heart and leopard's gall?" Hua Xin turned with a face full of grievance and said, "Blood-bone ghost king. Listen to me, I have nothing to do with this gluttonous little thief. You should find its master to settle the score." The blood-bone ghost king shouted, "You're talking nonsense. It stole items and fled to your hidden space. You still claim it's unrelated to you? Don't go, I need a good talk with you." Hua Xin was in deep torment. Initially, she was delighted to bring back the little Killin. After all, such a cute and beautiful spiritual pet with innocent eyes which woman could resist. She even contemplated keeping the little Killin for herself, never to return it. But soon, the nightmare began. With the transmission array closed in the underworld, there was no worry about it escaping from the 9th layer. So Hua Xin didn't restrain the little Killin, letting it freely roam around the 9th layer. On the first day, it somehow brought back 100-year-old spirit ginseng. On the second day, it somehow returned with a mouthful of spiritual liquid. On the third day, it somehow washed itself comfortably with Millennium Bell spirit lotion and returned. On the fourth day, the lingering ghosts in the ninth layer became enraged, claiming their belongings were stolen. Meanwhile, more ghosts had their homes robbed. On the fifth day, it escalated further, gobbling up all the assets of the ghosts who had been robbed. What it couldn't consume, it packed to eat slowly. On the sixth day, groups of angry ghosts finally arrived at Hua Xin's doorstep. On the seventh day, it raided the secret place of Bloodbone Ghost King, one of the three most powerful ghost kings. It nabbed the blood spirit ginseng that Bloodbone Ghost King had cultivated for 20 years, not even daring to take a bite himself. Thus, the Bloodbone Ghost King led the robbed ghosts to overturn Hua Xin's home. Hua Xin was left homeless, chased desperately across the world. Luckily, she had many tricks up her sleeve. After a while of running, she successfully shook off the group of ghosts. Furiously grabbing the little Killin, she said, "You little thief! You're just like your master." Her hair was disheveled, her clothes tattered, panting heavily. Her eyes, void of whites, glared widely. The little Killin looked up with innocent eyes, whining through its nose. "Stop pretending to be pitiful. I don't buy that. Still crying. Don't cry anymore. Okay, I won't be mean to you. I'm sorry, it's my fault. Let me hug you, don't cry, don't cry. My heart will break if you keep crying. I'll take you to find something better to eat. Give me a smile." East Sea, the ocean waves were turbulent, the wind fierce and waves high. Compared to the tranquil and blue South Sea, the East Sea appeared much more dangerous. But wherever the East Sea Demon Emperor went, the nearby seawater immediately became calm as a mirror. The shell, like a small boat, roamed freely on the sea surface. Jiang Fan rubbed his sore eyes, gently exhaled a breath. "So, did you gain anything?" The East Sea Demon Emperor looked over with a sideways glance. After 4 days, Jiang Fan had finished reading a stack of books. He read very fast, almost flipping through the pages, hardly pausing. The East Sea Demon Emperor didn't think that reading like that could understand any language. "I've picked up bits and pieces of the languages of all races. But what I wanted wasn't there," Jiang Fan said wearily. Speaking of the languages of all races, there were actually only about 100 kinds. Many races had a common language. For example, the Sea Demon Clan and the Mainland Demon Clan, they are different races, right? But the written language is actually the same. Thus, the common language is actually just over 100 kinds. Of course, this word just was limited to Jiang Fan's mind. If spoken out loud, who knows what others might think of him. Bits and pieces. The East Sea Demon Emperor smiled without saying anything. "Oh!" Suddenly, she noticed a large ship anchored deep in the vast sea. 3 strands of flowing air were painted on the hull. "Sanking Mountain?" The East Sea Demon Emperor slightly furrowed her delicate eyebrows and then sighed helplessly. "It seems Sanking Mountain had long anticipated that I would ignore their warning and head to the mainland. They have people posted at my East Sea Palace." Jiang Fan looked up. Frowning slightly, he said, "Sanking Mountain?" The East Sea Demon Emperor hesitated for a moment, then said, "The matter has passed and there's nothing that can't be said." She briefly explained the cause and effect. After listening, Jiang Fan heavily closed the book in his hand. These bastards, knowing full well that hell beasts are the common enemy of all races. They are too afraid to come themselves, and yet they secretly undermine us. Now I understand why all races suffered such heavy casualties 1,000 years ago. It surely owes to scum like them. He felt a sense of frustration, like hating iron for not becoming steel. Having gone through calamities 1,000 years ago and still having no sense of the big picture. They are afraid for their lives, selfish and self-serving. Jiang Fan was not saying anything about that, but to actually prevent the Sea Demon Clan from providing help. Seeing Jiang Fan so indignant on her behalf, the East Sea Demon Emperor felt much better. She said, "There's no need to worry too much. So what if I disobey their warning? My East Sea Demon Clan also has backing in Taikang State. They don't dare to do much. They'll only make things difficult for us regarding the spirit pills. All our 4th-grade high-tier spirit pills come from Sanking Mountain. That's how they can control us and most other forces." Oh, the East Sea Demon Clan has backing in Taikang State. Thinking carefully, it's not hard to understand. The heavenly mechanism Pavilion Master even has some obscure relations with the 10,000 Tribulations Holy Temple. The East Sea has only the Yizhu Demon Emperor, a woman. Whether it's the vast and boundless resources of the East Sea or her personal beauty, they would all be objects of desire. If she could remain safe and sound, there should indeed be some strong backup behind her. "Senior Yizhu, do you need any help from this junior?" Jiang Fan asked. The East Sea Demon Emperor was actually quite a good person. Moreover, she was disliked by Xin'er Mountain for the sake of the continent. If Jiang Fan could help, he would do so readily. The East Sea Demon Emperor couldn't help but laugh and cry. "Help me? All right, refine a 4th-grade spirit pill for me to try first." Jiang Fan nodded. "Hold out your hand." The East Sea Demon Emperor's smile froze slightly. "Are you serious?" She subconsciously extended her porcelain-like hand. Jiang Fan took out a spirit pill emitting a rosy fragrance, orange yellow throughout, with white tiger head markings. He gently placed it in her palm. "Eat it!" It was originally prepared while he was cultivating the iron blood true scripture, though used for a less advanced body refinement technique. Its grade was exceedingly high, reaching the 4th grade. But now it was of no use to Jiang Fan. The East Sea Demon Emperor stared at the orange-yellow spirit pill in her palm, stunned. "It really is a 4th-grade spirit pill? And it's a type I've never seen before. Where did you get it?" Her face was full of surprise. In her memory, Xin'er Mountain had never refined this type of pill. Jiang Fan said, "Are you going to eat it or not?" The East Sea Demon Emperor came back to her senses and poked his forehead playfully. "Little rascal, are you trying to irritate me? I was asking you to refine one yourself. What's the point of getting it from somewhere else?" She laughed and returned the fierce tiger pill to Jiang Fan. "I understand your good intentions. I'm already happy that you're thinking of helping me solve the problem. But don't trouble yourself, I'll figure out a way to solve it myself." The implication was that Jiang Fan couldn't help much. Jiang Fan nodded and put the fierce tiger pill away. He asked again, "Senior Yizhu, how are the spirit pills needed by your Sea Demon clan different from those used by our human clan?" The East Sea Demon Emperor looked at the approaching large ship and said, "There isn't much difference. It's more about the materials being closer to the needs of our Sea Demon clan." Hearing this, Jiang Fan felt at ease. This means it can be considered ordinary pill refining. The only thing needed is a pill recipe. "What kind of spirit pill do you need? Can only Xin'er Mountain refine it?" The East Sea Demon Emperor looked at Jiang Fan in surprise. She hadn't expected him to be so curious about alchemy. "It's not really a secret, nothing to hide. Our Sea Demon clan, like the mainland Demon clan, is born of nature, generally speaking. We don't need spirit pills. But the sea springs in the 4 seas periodically erupt with an unknown liquid that spreads into the vast sea. It doesn't affect ordinary fish and shrimp much, but to our Sea Demon clan, it accumulates in our bodies through breathing and inhalation. Once it accumulates too much, the body will mutate." She paused. The East Sea Demon Emperor looked at Jiang Fan and sighed softly. "Have you seen my 3rd daughter?" "The East Sea 3rd Princess?" Jiang Fan nodded. "How do you evaluate her?" The East Sea Demon Emperor stared into Jiang Fan's eyes. Jiang Fan rubbed his nose. How could he criticize someone's daughter in front of her mother? He had to imitate the East Sea Demon Emperor's way of speaking. "Your daughter is straightforward, dares to love and hate." The East Sea Demon Emperor chuckled. "You're getting more slippery. Let me translate your words. She's 1,000 pounds, capricious, shamelessly occupying men." That's not what I said," Jiang Fan mumbled to himself. But then the East Sea Demon Emperor's tone softened, showing a hint of sympathy. "Did you know she used to look exactly like me? She was once a famous beauty fairy across the East Sea." "What?" Jiang Fan's eyes widened. He couldn't associate that mass of flesh with the delicate and undeniably beautiful Demon Emperor in front of him. How could they even be mother and daughter? They're simply from different races. Suddenly, Jiang Fan frowned. "Are you saying the East Sea 3rd Princess mutated due to the influence of the Sea Spring's strange force?" The East Sea Demon Emperor sighed slightly. "What else? I have 2 daughters and 1 son. The eldest daughter and 2nd son are both carved out in the same mold as me. Only the 3rd daughter looks like this. Even her temperament is indescribable." Jiang Fan's expression grew serious. Having never been to the vast sea, he wouldn't have known. The Sea Spring is truly terrifying. It holds such deadly drawbacks for those practicing underwater cultivation. That's why we must regularly dispel the accumulated strange force from the Sea Spring in our bodies. Otherwise, if it accumulates too much, one will end up like my 3rd daughter. Jiang Fan suddenly understood. And the way to dispel it is with a certain spirit pill refined by Xin'er Mountain. The East Sea Demon Emperor nodded gently. This pill is called the Cold Cicada Silence Pill. It's the only spirit pill our Sea Demon clan has found over the years that has a definite effect. Other spirit pills either have too poor an effect, or their effectiveness varies, and some even cause side effects. Only the cold cicada silence pill is universally beneficial to our sea demon clan. Its results are consistent and harmless to the body. This pill can only be refined by Sanking Mountain. If they don't sell it, we'll be in trouble. Thinking of her third daughter's condition. Her eyes showed a mix of sympathy, worry, and hatred. Jiang Fan thought as he looked towards Gu Xin'er, Vice Building Master Gu. With the capabilities of Jiangshan first-class building, how many cold cicada silence pills can you get? Gu Xin'er raised her small hand. Her thumb and index finger formed a 0. Not a single one. Gu Xin'er also sympathized with the plight of the Sea Demon clan, but she couldn't help either. Many in Jiangshan first-class building have thought of hoarding this pill to sell it at a high price to the Sea Demon clan. But Sanking Mountain refuses to sell them. They only sell to the Sea Demon clan and in a fixed quantity. Once sold out, there's no more. There's no channel to obtain them outside. Upon hearing this, the East Sea Demon Emperor nodded slightly. Over the years, we of the Four Seas have openly and secretly asked friends from other races to help purchase this pill. Even the power behind me has stepped in, hoping to secretly stockpile a batch of spirit pills. Yet Sanking Mountain refuses to sell a single one. Jiang Fan understood why Sanking Mountain dared to directly order the Four Seas, warning them not to aid the mainland. It's because they've got the Four Seas tightly controlled. Relying on just one cold cicada silence pill, they've forced compliance from the Four Seas. Fortunately, the Sea Demon clan still has those various spirit pills as alternatives. Without the cold cicada silence pill, they won't immediately face disaster. Otherwise, Jiang Fan has no doubt that Sanking Mountain would exploit the Four Seas to the fullest, demanding whatever they want. Staring at the giant ship of Sanking Mountain ahead, Jiang Fan frowned deeply. This time, the East Sea Demon Emperor was truly in trouble. After thinking for a while, he whispered in the East Sea Demon Emperor's ear, "Senior Yizhu, have you ever thought about obtaining the pill recipe? With the pill recipe, you could hire another 4-star soul master and not have to be at the mercy of Sanking Mountain anymore." The East Sea Demon Emperor's expression grew serious, and her voice lowered even further. "Such thoughts must not be entertained. It's a major taboo of Sanking Mountain. Back when I first took the throne, I targeted the pill recipe, and shortly thereafter my third daughter encountered danger on an outing. She wasn't physically harmed, just trapped somewhere for half a year. As the cold cicada silence pill on her body was exhausted, her body underwent mutation. Then she inexplicably got free. Hearing this, Jiang Fan squinted his eyes. It seems that the East Sea Third Princess's mutation was deliberate, and undoubtedly orchestrated by Sanking Mountain. He remembered his first encounter with Xuanyang from Sanking Mountain. Just because Jiang Fan, the West Sea Crown Prince, and the East Sea Third Princess were also present at the gates of the Tiger Demon Emperor Mansion. He had immediately intended to kill. His cold-blooded nature left a deep impression on Jiang Fan. To control the Sea Demon clan with such unscrupulous means is quite typical of Sanking Mountain. Looking at the East Sea Demon Emperor, whose eyes were filled with hatred and yet forced to endure. Considering Sanking Mountain's attempt to let hell beasts rampage across the continent. Jiang Fan's eyes narrowed. "Senior Yizhu, I'll help you acquire the pill recipe." "Recipe, you're helping me get the pill recipe?" The East Sea Demon Emperor slightly raised her delicate eyebrows. Then she calmed down again, revealing a trace of relief. She tidied up Jiang Fan's hair that was blown by the wind like a kind elder. "Good child, I understand your intention. But don't wade into these troubled waters. If anything happens to you, how should I explain to your pavilion master? The pill recipe is Sanking Mountain's taboo. How could it be allowed others to peek? Moreover, this pill recipe is Sanking Mountain's top secret, only held by primordial spirit-level experts. How could Jiang Fan easily obtain it? Jiang Fan said earnestly, "Senior Yizhu, trust me once." The East Sea Demon Emperor was momentarily stunned. The last person who spoke to her like that was her husband, who died over 10 years ago. She couldn't believe it. After all these years, these words came from a junior's mouth. She seemed to recall the past when she was protected by her husband. She couldn't help but show a faint smile of reminiscence at the corner of her mouth. "You little rascal." The East Sea Demon Emperor looked at Jiang Fan with more tenderness. "You want me to believe in you? Sure. You have to give me a reason, right?" Jiang Fan reached out. "I already have a plan in mind. However, I need to see the cold cicada silence pill first." The East Sea Demon Emperor hesitated slightly. The cold cicada silence pill was indeed too precious. She only had one. If it got damaged, it would be troublesome. Yet looking at Jiang Fan's calm and powerful gaze, she instinctively took it out. "Be careful then." The East Sea Demon Emperor handed over the cold cicada silence pill wrapped in seaweed. Jiang Fan took it and examined it. It was a spirit pill with gray-white interwoven patterns and considerable spiritual pressure. Unmistakably, a fourth-grade spirit pill. Its surface was as smooth as a mirror, and its fragrance intoxicating, with excellently maintained quality. The quality is excellent. Xuanbing Mountain indeed has capable people. This pill has been mastered by Xuanbing Mountain for hundreds of thousands of years, thoroughly researched. The quality of the refined pill was already impeccable. He sniffed it closely, then scraped off a bit and tasted it. He exhaled slightly. Fortunately, they're not two unfamiliar things. The high-grade medicine garden of Green Cloud Sect has cultivated them all. Immediately, he took out paper and pen and noted them down. Toadheart embryo mud, 7-colored mysterious ice, Qingshan purple fruit. Not long after, a pill recipe with 12 materials appeared. The East Sea Demon Emperor took back the used cold cicada silence pill. Looking at the scraped layer, her eyes showed a trace of heartache. "Are you analyzing the pill recipe?" She was a bit puzzled. Analyzing a pill recipe wasn't something ordinary people could do, but soul masters could. After all, discerning numerous raw materials from the pill fragrance was generally impossible for ordinary people. Only soul masters, who deal with various materials long-term, can do it. All the materials are here. Jiang Fan handed the pill recipe to her. Upon glancing at it, the East Sea Demon Emperor was slightly surprised. "I inadvertently heard Xuanbing Mountain collecting 7-colored mysterious ice all over. Could it be that the cold cicada silence pill really contains this material?" Xin'er curiously poked her little head over. "Really? You can analyze the composition of pills? Don't tell me you're a soul master." Jiang Fan replied with a question. "Why?" Suddenly feeling a rising sense of admiration, Xin'er scoffed. "Who admires a rogue like you? Besides just having the materials, what kind of pill recipe is that? Do you know the quantities for each material? Just having the materials is useless." Even if she's not a soul master, she knew the emphasis of a pill recipe lies in the ratio of materials. Any slight difference in materials could lead to a big mistake. Trying to duplicate someone else's pill recipe, especially one with extraordinarily complex components, it's just impossible. Jiang Fan laughed. "Of course I don't know the quantities. But don't the people of Xuanbing Mountain know? They will tell me." Speaking, he casually wrote a roughly matching number behind the materials. The East Sea Demon Emperor looked confused. What did Jiang Fan mean by this? The people of Xuanbing Mountain would tell him the formula? "Senior Yizhu." Jiang Fan handed the pill recipe to her. "Later, when negotiating with the people of Xuanbing Mountain, at the right moment, show them this semi-finished pill recipe. You must make them feel surprised. Also, keep me beside you. I'll find a way to get the ratios. Need to make the other party surprised. Also keep Jiang Fan with her." The East Sea Demon Emperor pondered for a while. She still didn't understand what Jiang Fan planned to do, but worth a try. If it fails, she won't lose anything. If by chance it succeeds, the Sea Demon clan would be free from then on. Not long after, a shell slid to a giant ship. An hunched old man stood at the bow, hands behind his back. His skin was wrinkled, full of senility, wearing an old Taoist robe that had been washed to a slight whiteness, fluttering in the wind. "East Sea Demon Emperor, I have been waiting for you for a long time," he said hoarsely, his glance sweeping over the other two on the shell. When he glanced at Xin'er, his eyes showed a hint of surprise. He obviously recognized her as the vice-building master of Jiangshan first-class building. When he glanced at Jiang Fan, he slightly pondered. Feeling he had met him somewhere, he didn't remember Jiang Fan, but Jiang Fan remembered him well. This world is indeed small. Encountered this old bastard again." Jiang Fan snorted internally. This person was none other than Xuanyang from Xuanbing Mountain, and standing beside him were his 2 disciples close to primordial spirit level. Kinged. The Forget God spell Jiang Fan learned was thanks to him. At this moment, Kinged bowed his head, his lips slightly moving, seemed to be memorizing something. Judging by his mouth shape, it should be some lengthy Taoist scripture. The East Sea Demon Emperor smiled gently. "I went on a journey for a few days. I didn't know Xuanyang visited, making you wait." Listening to the East Sea Demon Emperor's excuse, Xuanyang snorted coldly. "Come to the cabin to talk?" The East Sea Demon Emperor's heart sank. The words "not a friendly visit" were almost written on his face. She leaped onto the ship. Jiang Fan and Xin'er followed closely. What is the point of you two outsiders following? Xuanyang turned back to look at Jiang Fan and Xin'er. The East Sea Demon Emperor stopped. Thinking of Jiang Fan's proposed plan, she pulled Jiang Fan along. This is a member of my East Sea Demon Emperor Palace. Member, Xuanyang scrutinized Jiang Fan, showing doubt. The East Sea Demon Emperor added, my son-in-law. Son-in-law. If the eldest daughter's husband, then enjoying great blessings. If the third daughter's husband, they are terribly unlucky. Xuanyang showed a hint of dissatisfaction. He wanted to talk to the East Sea Demon Emperor alone. But the East Sea Demon Emperor insisted on bringing Jiang Fan. He couldn't say anything. Then, King, you come along too. Upon hearing the call, King regained his concentration and stopped reciting. Immediately followed. Soon. The group entered the cabin, bam, before speaking. Xuanyang struck the table with his palm, causing it to resonate loudly. The iron table was imprinted with a handprint. You have such audacity. I ordered you not to help the Sky Demon Emperor, yet you dare defy my command. From the start, he gave the East Sea Demon Emperor a show of force. The purpose of the power move is not to scare people. It is to intimidate the opponent, gaining an advantage in the subsequent negotiations. Jiang Fan remained calm, unfazed by these tactics. The East Sea Demon Emperor, having witnessed countless situations, smiled naturally and said, Xuanyang, why are you so angry? I was just staying too long in the sea and wanted to stroll around the continent. I didn't help the Sky Demon Emperor. I can swear by the sea fountain. She was helping the heavenly mechanism pavilion master. That rat, the Sky Demon Emperor, never even showed up. It's not really helping him. Xuanyang snorted. No need to argue. That Sky Demon Emperor insulted my Sanking Mountain and even attacked me. He is my enemy. What do you mean by helping my enemy? Are you trying to oppose my Sanking Mountain? The East Sea Demon Emperor sighed silently. This person is determined to hold her accountable. Nothing can be done. Since it's like this, let's be frank. Still wearing a smile. Where are you coming from with that? Our East Sea Demon clan needs to rely on you to speak favorably at Sanking Mountain and allocate us some cold cicada silence pills. I have a box of merfolk tears produced from the depths of the East Sea here. They can extend life, a favorite item among the old nascent soul seniors. As you rarely visit our East Sea, please accept this small welcome gift. And so, Xuanyang's aged stern face slightly relaxed. He accepted it outright, not avoiding Jiang Fan and King's presence. Clearly skilled in it, having done it countless times before. I am not making things difficult for you, but that Sky Demon Emperor is really vile. Xuanyang sat down and said slowly. The East Sea Demon Emperor relaxed and gracefully sat down, saying, If I encounter that Sky Demon Emperor, I will surely teach him a lesson for you. Xuanyang then felt relieved. What he wanted was for the Sea Demon clan to be respectful and obedient in front of him, in the divine sect-filled Taikang state. As a nascent soul, he cannot enjoy this feeling of controlling the fate of a race. Only the Sea Demon clan can give him such a marvelous feeling, looking at the submissive East Sea Demon Emperor, and her eternally beautiful appearance that could captivate nations. His gaze involuntarily drifted downward. Under the pink dress, the mature and graceful lines subtly outlining her perfect, delicate form. Both the East Sea and South Sea Demon Emperors have always been beauties frequently mentioned in the nascent soul realm of Taikang state. Now, this renowned beauty demon emperor is gentle and respectful before him, like a blossoming flower ripe for his picking. This aroused in Xuanyang a wicked desire to conquer her. Wrinkles covered his face, forming a smile. East Sea Demon Emperor. I won't tell Sanking Mountain about this. Only heaven knows, earth knows, you and I know, and those two young ones also know. The East Sea Demon Emperor beamed and quickly bowed. Thank you, Xuanyang. I am immensely grateful. Xuanyang stroked his beard. You ought to thank me properly, otherwise your East Sea Demon clan will be in trouble. King and that human clan boy, you both head outside. This master has some words to share privately with the East Sea Demon Emperor. Upon hearing this, Jiang Fan frowned. Is this old fool feeling spring again? The East Sea Demon Emperor naturally understood the implicit meaning. Feeling disgusted, she immediately smiled and said, Xuanyang, what is it that can't be said in front of my son-in-law? Xuanyang's face darkened. He spoke sinisterly. East Sea Demon Emperor, think carefully about whether or not to talk privately with me. Although I may not be able to help your East Sea Demon clan get more cold cicada silence pills at Sanking Mountain, it's still very easy to ensure you don't get any. Such a blatant threat. The East Sea Demon Emperor abruptly stood up. The smile on her face faded. Some things cannot be started. because once it starts, there will be endless times after it. Right now, her only reliance for intimidating Xuanyang is the pill recipe that Jiang Fan deciphered. Hopefully, Xuanyang will retreat at this difficulty. Xuanyang, during my travels on the continent, I met a master. He helped me decipher the pill recipe for cold cicada silence pills. Please refrain from using the pill recipe as a threat against us anymore. With a flick of her sleeve, she tossed the pill recipe over. Jiang Fan secretly thought it was bad. Now is not the time. One should give Xuanyang a sudden reversal at his most smug moment. Only then would he lose control of his mind. Only then could the ancient heart mirror uncover his inner secrets. But one can't blame the East Sea Demon Emperor, who would have thought this old man almost in his grave. Would still be thinking about having a spirit pearl session with the East Sea Demon Emperor. No choice. Jiang Fan could only try. Stealthily taking out the ancient heart mirror, he secretly aimed it at Xuanyang. The mirror remained silent. As expected, a nascent soul realm great cultivator's mind is immensely strong, hard to probe in normal times. Let's see if his mind loses control when he sees the pill recipe. Xuanyang initially froze, then eased and chuckled. Cold cicada silence pill if it was so easy to decipher. It would have been deciphered countless times over the hundreds of years. He casually seized the pill recipe, playing with it. Come, let me see how high the master you spoke of really is. If I am in a good mood, I might help you analyze it. Zen heart embryo mud, 7-colored mysterious ice, Qingshan purple fruit, as he recited. Xuanyang abruptly stood up, his face filled with shock. Indeed, the pill recipe's ingredients all matched, frightening him, and at that moment, as his mind lost control, the ancient heart mirror finally probed into his inner thoughts. Where did such a master come from? They deciphered it flawlessly. No, the material usage is wrong. Zen heart embryo mud isn't 3 tails, but 2 tails and 3 cayenne. 7-colored mysterious ice is also wrong, not 1 tail, but 9 cayenne. Qingshan purple fruit is still wrong, not? Jiang Fan was ecstatic and memorizing it. Suddenly, Xuanyang calmed down. This pill recipe is not right at all. This woman is tricking me. He tossed the pill recipe onto the table and chuckled. Then you can ask someone to prepare it according to this pill recipe. The East Sea Demon Emperor felt a bit disturbed, casting a questioning look at Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan's heart grew heavy. The opponent has grown wary. Probing is impossible now. What a pity, just a bit away. His mind wasn't hit hard enough to remain stunned. What should be done now? Suddenly, he noticed Kinged in the corner, head down, lips moving, seemingly reciting something. Jiang Fan's heart fluttered. He aimed the ancient heart mirror at him. The cold cicada silence pill recipe is as follows. Zen heart embryo mud, 2 tails, 3 cayenne. 7-colored mysterious ice, 9 cayenne. Qingshan purple fruit, 6 tails. Sea amber essence crystal, 1 cayenne. Forget spirit juice, 7 tails. Finished reciting, hopefully I didn't mess up. That's right, that's right. Absolutely. Truly a diligent and motivated child. Jiang Fan was secretly excited. He never expected that Kinged was so valued by Sanking Mountain and trusted with such an important pill recipe. Even more unexpected was how studious Kinged was. He was treating the pill recipe as if it were scripture to memorize. East Sea Demon Emperor, I advise you to stop dreaming these unrealistic dreams. Just listen to me honestly. If I'm pleased, the transaction for your Sea Demon clan's cold cicada silence pill can be completed on time. Xuanyang crossed one leg over the other. His murky eyes roamed freely over the enchanting curves of the East Sea Demon Emperor's chest. In his mind, indescribable beautiful scenes had already begun to appear. The East Sea Demon Emperor's face darkened. Senior Yizhu. Suddenly, Jiang Fan's voice echoed in her mind. This slightly startled her, but she quickly calmed down. Had Jiang Fan used some sort of mysterious treasure to transmit his thoughts? Jiang Fan, she tried to respond in her mind. Jiang Fan's smiling voice came through. Mission accomplished. I've got the pill recipe. The East Sea Demon Emperor's exquisite eyes quivered slightly. Her mind was somewhat excited, also somewhat unsure. Is it accurate? Jiang Fan replied. Try reciting it to see how the old thing reacts. Recite the pill recipe to him. The East Sea Demon Emperor's heart surged with excitement. As Jiang Fan began reciting the pill recipe, she revealed a hint of a smile and said, I'm sorry, Xuanyang. I will no longer follow the orders of your Sanking Mountain. The true pill recipe was deciphered by that senior a long time ago. Xuanyang chuckled. Again? Fine, then recite it and let me give up. Today, he believed he had the East Sea Demon Emperor cornered. Even the Heavenly King himself couldn't ruin his plan. Zen Heart Embryo Mud, 2 tails and 3 cayenne. The East Sea Demon Emperor merely recited the first ingredient. Xuanyang's expression froze. His eyes were filled with deep suspicion. Just this one ingredient? 7 colored mysterious ice, 9 cayenne. What? Xuanyang's old eyes widened, starting to panic a bit. Just 2 ingredients don't mean much. This pill requires a total of 12 ingredients. The East Sea Demon Emperor no longer paused and recited everything in one breath. Qingchen Purple Fruit, 6 tails. Sea Amber Essence Crystal, 1 cayenne. Forget Spirit Juice, 7 tails. By now, Xuanyang had already stood up. His old face was filled with amazement, his eyes blank. It was as if the sky was falling. Seeing his expression, the East Sea Demon Emperor's heart surged with excitement, an excitement she had never felt before in her life. Even when she got married, she was never this overwhelmingly excited. It was real. The cold cicada silence pill recipe was real, completely cracked. With this recipe, the Sea Demon clan could seek another 4-star soul master to refine it. They could create as many cold cicada silence pills as they wanted, no longer needing to be at the mercy of Sanking Mountain, no longer allowing them to extort at will, no longer having to grovel with a smile to please them, much less being threatened so blatantly to offer up her body. Thinking of this, her gaze turned cold, slowly moving her head to icy stare at Xuanyang. Old thing, reeking of death, yet you still entertain thoughts about me? Without the constraints, the East Sea Demon Emperor was like a caged tiger to Xuanyang. The distraught Xuanyang's expression changed abruptly, quickly cupping his hands and saying, "East Sea Demon Emperor, please calm your anger. What I just said was only a joke, just a joke. This place is the sea's territory. In a real fight, how much benefit could he get?" The East Sea Demon Emperor laughed angrily. "A joke? Then let me joke with you too. How about you lend me your head to play with?" Boom, even heavily injured, she unleashed a powerful force. Anyone who has endured a lifetime of grievances would find it hard to stay calm on their day of liberation. She needed to vent now, to fiercely vent a lifetime of resentment. The cabin instantly exploded. Fortunately, Jiang Fan read the situation and slipped away first. Kingd was a step too slow. He was thrown out along with a twisted iron table that had exploded. He spat out blood from the impact, and upon seeing Jiang Fan not far away, he got up and stayed on guard immediately. "Brother Kingd, don't worry. There's no enmity between us, let our elders fight. It's none of our business," Jiang Fan said with a harmless smile, calling him brother repeatedly as if he were genuinely sincere towards him. Kingd was skeptical. "Have we met before?" He long felt Jiang Fan was familiar but couldn't remember for the moment. Jiang Fan cupped his hands and smiled. "Brother Kingd has forgotten many things. I am Jiang Fan. Back at the Tiger Demon Emperor Mansion, we were both ransacked by Wang Qingxiao. In a way, we are both people of similar misfortune." Kingd finally remembered who Jiang Fan was. "So it was you." That day was extremely chaotic with many people there. He honestly hadn't paid much attention to Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan said Brother King's hypnotism spell was masterfully executed that day. "We were all knocked out. Initially, I was somewhat unconvinced. We're about the same age, how could there be such a gap? Until just now, seeing Brother Kingd reciting scriptures, did I realize where my shortcoming was. Brother Kingd's diligence far surpasses mine tenfold. With such a gap between us, it is indeed not unjust." Kingd, who was somewhat wary, felt much more at ease after hearing Jiang Fan's words filled with admiration, especially since he spoke so directly to his heart. Everyone calls him the prodigy of Sanking Mountain with exceptional talent. But how many know of his hard work? Any spare time is spent memorizing all sorts of sect scriptures. Day after day, year after year, finally achieving such excellence. These are things that most people are unaware of. Unexpectedly, a fellow they had merely met by chance could see the difficulties behind his success. This made him feel a slight fondness. "Brother Jiang, you flatter me. At such a young age, you're at the 7th level of core formation, you're quite a figure in Taikang State." Jiang Fan smiled. "Compared to Brother Kingd, I fall far short. In the future, I'll aim to match Brother Kingd, learning from your unceasing diligence. To catch up to your footsteps as soon as possible." Kingd felt very pleased. More and more, he found the young man before him to be quite handsome and agreeable. He couldn't help but smile. "What a pity today is so rushed. With our seniors dueling, it's not appropriate to get too close. Otherwise, I would surely insist on having a good exchange of martial paths with you, dear brother Jiang." Jiang Fan subtly activated the ancient heart mirror, showing a look of regret. "It truly is a pity. I'm very curious about Brother King's hypnotism spell. I'd love to experience its power again. King felt rather proud and said, "It's called Forget God spell, an untransmittable secret of our sect. Its power is quite formidable. As long as the caster has a strong enough soul, it's hard to resist below nascent soul level. However, our Sanking Mountain actually has an even more powerful hypnotic divine skill called Banished Immortal Drunk. It's a divine skill even nascent souls find hard to resist. I'm currently learning it." Jiang Fan's heart pounded. My goodness, finally got a bit of juicy info. He acted calmly. So was Brother King reciting the content of this divine skill earlier? King nodded slightly, almost memorized it all. Just need to refine some details. Jiang Fan's heart kept pounding. Because under the prying of the ancient heart mirror, King had already been silently reciting it in his heart. This diligent and motivated excellent disciple of Sanking Mountain was about to give away another treasure for free. However, at this moment, a fleeting shadow swept by, taking King and disappearing without a trace. It was Xuanyang. His robes were ragged, his old face bloody and blurry. His aura was somewhat depleted. It seemed he had suffered a significant loss. Just as Banished Immortal Drunk was within reach, it suddenly vanished. Jiang Fan was furious. "You old bastard! Why weren't you killed by the East Sea Demon Emperor?" Thud, the East Sea Demon Emperor returned, her breathtakingly beautiful face brimming with a sense of satisfaction and relief. It seemed she had finally vented her anger. "Congratulations, Senior Yizhu." The East Sea Demon Emperor looked at Jiang Fan and grabbed his arm, eyes full of gratitude. "Jiang Fan, you are a benefactor to our East Sea Demon clan. How should I thank you?" Jiang Fan smiled gently. "When Senior Yizhu helped my continent, she never thought of asking for any reward. Now that I help the East Sea Demon clan, I naturally won't ask you for anything in return either. Let's call it even, Senior Yizhu. Don't be concerned." What a good boy. The East Sea Demon Emperor was truly moved. Clearly, Jiang Fan could take advantage and ask for benefits, and she wouldn't be able to refuse. But he didn't ask for anything. Jiang Fan, her crystal eyes misted over. The last time anyone protected her like this was when her husband was alive. Jiang Fan smiled wryly. "Senior Yizhu, please don't cry. Vice building owner Gu is still down below. Don't let her see and make fun of you." The East Sea Demon Emperor quickly wiped the moisture from her eyes. The more she looked at Jiang Fan, the more endearing he seemed. "From now on, don't call me Senior. Call me Aunt." How could Jiang Fan not know the immense impact a single aunt could have on a woman? The worldly rule, meet older women than yourself. It's acceptable to call those who you should call grandmother as aunt, but remember to call those you should call aunt as sister. "All right, Sister Yizhu." The East Sea Demon Emperor's face blossomed into a smile. "Sweet talker you are. No wonder you can have several wives." She really was worried Jiang Fan would call her aunt, though she indeed was of an aunt's age, but what woman wants to admit she's been defeated by time? "All right, back to the palace we go, and I'll treat you with the highest Eastern Sea courtesy." The Yizhu Demon Emperor was full of gratitude. Jiang Fan shook his head. He pointed at the long dampness soaking through her chest. "Sister Yizhu, don't mind me, you should quickly heal." She had already been seriously injured in the battle with the Hell Beast, and then had just fought with Xuanyang. The injuries worsened. The Yizhu Demon Emperor's heart grew warmer. "You're truly a gentle and caring person. Let's go to the East Sea Palace first, then we'll talk." She took Jiang Fan onto a shell. With a casual strike, she sank the giant ship of Sanking Mountain. "Ah!" Xin'er was shocked. "Yizhu Demon Emperor, is this all right? The grievances between you and Xuanyang, perhaps Sanking Mountain won't mind. But sinking their warship, won't that upset Sanking Mountain?" The Yizhu Demon Emperor snorted coldly. "From now on, every ship Sanking Mountain sends to the East Sea, I'll sink it." Xin'er looked puzzled. Could it be the pill recipe issue has been resolved? She looked at Jiang Fan and frowned. "What did you do, kid? Could it be that someone from Sanking Mountain really told you the formula?" Before Jiang Fan could respond, the Yizhu Demon Emperor reminded. "Vice building owner Gu, Jiang Fan is now my brother. When speaking with my brother in the future, watch your tone and attitude." "What? Brother, didn't Jiang Fan just go up there for a moment? How did he get himself a Demon Emperor sister?" Jiang Fan smiled softly. He poked Xin'er's masked forehead. "Did you hear that? Jiden Jr., speak to me politely in the future." This made Xin'er furious. She thought angrily in her heart, "Master, look at this guy. He's gotten so arrogant he dares to poke my forehead while talking. I'll endure for now. Once I reach the nascent soul realm, I'll strip a layer of his skin." The remnant soul in the hairpin chuckled, saying, "This kid, but he truly has talent." This Yizhu Demon Emperor doesn't seem like someone easy to fool. Yet he managed to have the Yizhu Demon Emperor willingly protect him, even recognizing him as a brother. This shows that besides ability and character, Jiang Fan's words are quite persuasive. Xin'er huffed angrily without speaking, taking advantage of the East Sea Demon Emperor leading Jiang Fan under the sea. She took out a small black notebook and wrote furiously to document Jiang Fan's misdeeds of the day. On the East Sea, poked my forehead, death once. She then closed the book heavily and entered the vast sea. Jiang Fan used the bubble given by the Yizhu Demon Emperor from the heavenly mechanism pavilion. After using it, the bubble turned into a thin layer of air that adhered to his body. It automatically filtered air from the seawater, supplying Jiang Fan with breath. At the same time, it continuously cycled out the waste gas, so he wouldn't accidentally suffocate himself with a fart. Before long, at the deepest point of the sea, amidst the endless coral, a magnificent palace, sparkling and illuminated, was embedded in the dark seabed. The Yizhu Demon Emperor carried the two directly into the imperial palace. Several sea demons with auras at the 9th layer of core formation perfection immediately approached. "Welcome, Demon Emperor." The Yizhu Demon Emperor looked around at the people welcoming her, frowning. "Where is the crown prince? Didn't I ask him to act as regent for me?" A sea demon stammered. Reporting to the Demon Emperor, "The crown prince said he wanted to indulge in being the Demon Emperor and has taken troops to patrol the East Sea." The Yizhu Demon Emperor slapped the dragon throne, her face slightly angry. "This useless thing? If he were in the palace, Xuanyang might not have realized I'd left." Jiang Fan listened with quiet confusion. How could it be that with the crown prince there, Xuanyang wouldn't have noticed something amiss? "When he returns, have him quickly go to the washing spirit pool to attend to young Master Jiang," the Yizhu Demon Emperor instructed. Turning her head to Jiang Fan sitting beside her, her gaze softened. "Vice building owner Gu and I will first go to the Mother Origin Cauldron to heal, so we won't accompany you. Coral, take young Master Jiang to the washing spirit pool. Before the crown prince returns, take good care of him." The female demon queen named Coral respectfully agreed. "Young Master Jiang, please follow me." At the same time, on the continent at the Demon Emperor Court, 100 miles away, in a valley blooming with 100 flowers, a young girl in white, so beautiful that she seemed not of this world, put away a 9-colored long needle in her hand. This needle, it's unknown what it was crafted from, yet it exuded a powerful presence that seemed to press on the soul. "The heart connection worm can be extracted now," the beautiful young girl in white said softly. She was none other than the ageless old priest of the demon race, Spirit Sound. She moved lightly and flowers blossomed and greenery thrived wherever she stepped, as if a divine miracle. Demon Moon followed behind, tightly pursing her red lips. "Mother, when the heart connection worm is extracted, what will happen to him?" Spirit Sound, without turning her head, said coolly. "Are you worried about him?" Demon Moon spoke softly. "It's because the war between humans and demons has ended, isn't it? If we can avoid harming him, then let's not harm him." Spirit Sound smiled faintly, saying nothing. Demon Moon felt a little uneasy. "Mother, let's talk about it when he comes to the demon race." "In this vast world, where would we find him?" Spirit Sound said calmly. "Finding him is not difficult." A rainbow appeared before her. She stepped lightly onto it, walking leisurely along the rainbow, and the rainbow pointed precisely to the East Sea. "Master Jiang, where do you live? At which major sect are you employed? You must have several luxurious residences, right?" Along the way, the Coral Demon King asked Jiang Fan seemingly trivial questions with a smile. Jiang Fan was puzzled. Why were Sister Yizhu and her subordinates curious about other people's homes? But he didn't have a home. He replied ambiguously, "I am alone, and the 4 seas are my home." The Coral Demon King deeply nodded, indicating she remembered. Soon after, she led the way deep into the imperial palace to an outdoor spirit pond surrounded by clouds and mist. The pool churned with pink spiritual liquid, emitting large amounts of mist. Just standing outside the pool, his blood began to boil. The golden core subtly showed signs of speeding up. Outdoors. Jiang Fan looked up at the sky, feeling a bit apprehensive. Would someone spy on him, or would someone suddenly fall from above? The Coral Demon King looked strange. "What? Are you worried about being watched? This is the East Sea Palace." "True." Jiang Fan relaxed, knowing this was not the wilderness where the heavenly mechanism pavilion master was undergoing tribulation. Who would dare to spy at the palace? "Thank you, Coral Demon King." Jiang Fan cupped his hands. The Coral Demon King nodded and stood there, not leaving. Her eyes were still darting around, glancing at parts of Jiang Fan she shouldn't have. Coral Demon King, I am going to enter the spirit pond to cultivate. Jiang Fan reminded. The Coral Demon King unabashedly continued to look him over. Go ahead. Do you need me to help you change? Jiang Fan was startled. Quickly covering his collar, he said, No need. I meant I prefer to cultivate quietly alone. With the Demon King standing by, I feel uneasy. Only then did the Coral Demon King withdraw her gaze, a hint of disappointment in her eyes. All right, young Master Jiang, take your time. This spirit pond is usually used only by the Demon Emperor, Crown Prince, and Princesses. Oh, sometimes a few distinguished guests, too. If someone comes, you needn't worry, young Master Jiang. Jiang Fan nodded. Okay. He watched the Coral Demon King disappear into the distance before relaxing his grip on his collar. Are the customs of the Sea Demon clan so open? He muttered softly, and then entered the spirit pond fully clothed. The dense mist immediately began to infiltrate his body. It had only been 6 days since his last breakthrough to the 7th level of core formation. His foundation was not yet stable. Attempting a breakthrough now could easily lead to internal chaos as before. Fortunately, he had received a bit of moon-viewing wine after answering a question from the Jiangshan first-class building owner. He took it out immediately. Pouring it out, there was only enough for a thumb-sized cup. He's so stingy giving such a small amount of wine. Barely enough to wet the throat. He drank it all at once, unexpectedly. Once inside his body, the wine spread like flames, heating his body tremendously. A strong drunkenness quickly overwhelmed him. What potent wine! Jiang Fan immediately felt dizzy and intoxicated. Before the intoxication could take over completely, he quickly sat cross-legged and entered the state of cultivating his mental method. As long as he wasn't disturbed, there shouldn't be a big problem. Breaking through to the Jidan 8th layer shouldn't be an issue. Elsewhere, the Coral Demon King had just reached a dim corner outside the reach of the Luminous Pearl. Suddenly, several hands reached out, grabbing her and dragging her into the darkness. 4 pairs of wide-open eyes stared at her, as if they wanted to consume her. Did you ask? Did you ask? What's his relationship with our Demon Emperor? As the view came into focus, it turned out to be 4 other female demon queens. Their eyes were burning with excitement. After all, it was a sensational piece of gossip. Who wouldn't be excited? The Demon Emperor never got close to men. Even as a widow, she was cautious to avoid any suspicion. Yet today, she suddenly brought a man back. And he was a handsome young man with rosy lips and sparkling white teeth. It was fine if just that, but she even let him sit beside her on the dragon throne. This implication was hard not to imagine. The Coral Demon King nodded excitedly. Of course, I asked. He said he's single, and that the 4 seas are his home. East Sea is just one of them. Wow, the female demon queens immediately showed their excitement. As expected, they stumbled upon major gossip. How amazing is he? Does he have beautiful wives in all 4 seas? Think about it, our Demon Emperor is such a pure and virtuous person, yet she has succumbed to his demon claw. How can he not be amazing? In my opinion, he must have exceptional qualities. By exceptional, do you mean in a decent way? Coral, didn't you measure with your eyes? The Coral Demon King pouted. He's very conservative. I tricked him into letting me help him change, but he refused. I estimate he thought our Sea Demon clan customs are very open. An older demon queen, after the gossiping, remarked calmly, We can chat like this, but don't spread it around. If this reaches the ears of the Crown Prince or Princesses, it could cause trouble for young Master Jiang. The Crown Prince and Princesses wouldn't accept having a new father. Half a day later, a powerful spirit boat broke the sea's surface, arriving in front of the East Sea Palace. The East Sea Demon Emperor, whose wounds had just begun to heal, sensed it, immediately appeared. Upon seeing who was aboard the spirit boat, her beautiful face showed a hint of delight. She gracefully bowed. Tower Master Wei, it's been a while. A well-dressed middle-aged man stood on the spirit boat. Though in his 40s, his features were still refined and his skin fair. One could faintly see the exceptional charm he had in his youth. He was a nascent soul-level expert from the outer realm, divine sect, wondrous space realm, tasked with being a tower master. Yizhu, no matter how many years pass, you remain unchanged. Wei Wuji disembarked from the spirit boat, standing before the Yizhu Demon Emperor. Gazing at the eternally youthful and beautiful Yizhu Demon Emperor, he sighed softly. Upon hearing this, the Yizhu Demon Emperor's smile faded. She stepped back slightly, maintaining her distance, and said, Tower Master Wei, is there a command from the wondrous space realm? Wei Wuji looked somewhat helpless, half amused. Yizhu, we've known each other for so many years. Do you really need to be this cautious with me? He and the Yizhu Demon Emperor were old acquaintances. That was back when the Yizhu Demon Emperor got married. Wei Wuji, as a representative of wondrous space realm, attended the wedding. The sight of Yizhu dressed in splendid red left Wei Wuji deeply amazed, unforgettable ever since. Even after he also found a Dao companion later. That stunning image was still engraved in his heart. After Yizhu Demon Emperor's husband fell, he thought it was his opportunity. Using the guise of maintaining connections between the two forces, he frequently visited. But over a decade had passed. All he gained was a slight familiarity from the Yizhu Demon Emperor, considered him barely a long-time friend. She never gave the opportunity he sought. Even chances to speak closely like this she didn't allow. But he understood. The Yizhu Demon Emperor bore the responsibilities of the East Sea Demon clan. She couldn't afford personal affairs. "Ah, you!" Wei Wuji shook his head with a wry smile, but he wasn't impatient. There were many who admired the Yizhu Demon Emperor, yet even stepping close was a challenge for Wei Wuji. Others needn't bother trying. Thus, he wasn't worried about anyone beating him to it.